I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
Probably a mic, huh?
Yeah, you need a mic. Eric, joke's on you. Camera one's on you this time.
That's gonna fuck me up.
Guys, Google bruised my my soul today.
Why?
What happened?
They're stopped allowing you to use credit cards to pay for ad spend.
What?
Yeah, you can only.
What?
No one has real money. How are you supposed to pay for this
Oh my
stuff?
God!
poor
Goodbye,
points.
First class
Exactly, my
seats.
poor cash back.
Wait, what do they want you to
poor
do?
guy.
Use cash?
No, you have to use ACH or wire.
That's cash.
Invoice. Yeah.
That's real money.
You know how
brutal.
ridiculous this is?
You get an extra 25 days by using your credit card.
Yeah, I mean, you get
Brutal.
invoicing, so they give us net 30 to pay. So like,
But you get extra time because
it's
of the
more
credit
about the
card.
points and the cash back.
Hold on, I'm guessing we're live. So should I be switching cameras?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. By the way, is that gonna mess with your?
Oh yeah,
Okay. Well, test is on you.
it's fine. Hard mode.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's terrible.
Oh, people are
business
freaking
decision.
out on Reddit. They're freaking out.
But I get that you're concerned about your miles, but I'm also thinking that is a terrible business decision. People are going to spend way less money.
There's probably some like senior finance manager who's like, you know how to save 2% on $250 billion? No credit card fees.
Yeah, right.
I was
Damn.
thinking maybe we buy some puts on Amex because like I don't think like the public market is aware that. So Amex does about 60 billion in revenue. I don't know what percentage of the 230 billion is on credit card and what percentage of that Amex has, but like it's a hefty. It's enough. The news headline would be enough.
I'm gonna switch the camera. This.
Wow.
What's happening?
I don't know. These glasses were sitting on my chair, and I think they look great on me.
I'm
do.
actually concerned with how good they look on you.
Yeah, they look really good. Was it?
They're
Are you
literally
sure?
molded to
Have
my face.
I owned Persian glasses this whole
This
time?
is literally
Oh,
molded.
wait, those are
like
yours,
a
Steven?
glove.
Hold on,
Like a glove.
hold on. I thought you were planning
These look
this.
like they were custom ordered.
I thought
for
they
me.
were- I thought
No,
they were
just
planning
sitting
this,
right
like-
here. I think Steven.
I'm so upset
He
right
planted me. He planted them.
What a setup! This is alley oop,
This
Steven.
is a setup.
Stockton to Malone.
Is Persian
Yeah.
car salesman about to make an appearance?
I don't know. I haven't premeditated this.
Sorry, I got distracted. We were in the middle of an Amex talk.
Yeah. No.
But you look phenomenal.
For some people, the glasses, they are made for them. For you, not so much. Listen, brother, I keep this. I give you SL500.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. I accept your offer.
Reasonable.
It's reasonable.
All right. So where are we going today?
Around the world, back.
Let's do it.
Going on a journey, man.
So you guys shorten Amex? Sorry, I didn't want to disrupt that.
Yeah. Are we? We complete that topic?
Sure. The Gang Shorts Amex. That should be the new title of the episode.
I actually hate when people wear sunglasses inside. When I see that, it's like the celebrity.
You do have a
thing,
lot of
but
lights on you.
I'll be honest with you.
but you look at yourself and you're like, damn.
I mean, I can't see myself, but all I know is
I
how I
look good.
feel. I feel protected. I feel safe.
How else would you get an identity?
I
Other
feel
than by getting external influences.
it makes sense why celebrities do this, right? They don't want you to look in their soul. They need a little bit of protection, a little bit of layer of something between you and their eyes, the truth that they hold inside. Because that identity, it's so fragile that they've created.
What
You
about
know, that-
ours? We
that-
just expose all truth.
It's even more. Just print transparent all the way through.
Nick, I'm getting word from the chat that we forgot to change the date on the
Yeah, I
overlay.
also forgot to learn how to change the date.
Oh.
Yeah.
Should we just delete
I don't even know how to delete it.
it? You just
Change the
hide
date
it.
on what?
Just click the hide button.
Don't worry about
Date's gonna be fine.
it. It'll be fine.
We're doing it live.
On the stream.
People will think we're making like unbelievable calls. Wow, they predicted this June 26th? It's incredible.
It's a good hack. Can we
Let's,
talk about raw dogging
Raw
flights?
dogging?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen this. So, have you guys heard of raw dogging flights?
Yeah, it's
Because I
Hot new TikTok trend.
I think I raw dog flights.
You're a raw dogger?
Play it.
Okay.
When you're
I
on
have
a
not
flight
heard
and
this.
you just
I'm
sit
gonna go no
there
audio.
and you don't do a
Or is it?
goddamn thing.
No, the audio is
except
set
for
up.
Stare at the maps, the little thing that tells you how far along you are on the flight in front of you. You don't listen to music. You don't drink water. You don't eat the snacks. You don't get on your computer. You just sit there and raw dog it the whole way. Whoa. So this guy says, just raw dog the 7-hour flight. New personal best. No headphones, no water, nothing. Just sitting there looking at the flight map.
How angry he is.
This is the worst.
And then this guy is an Australian musician. 15 hours, just staring at staring ahead. He's looking at the bags under his eyes.
Are you allowed to go pee, Wes?
Okay, so here's
15
the thing:
hours
is
is a
in
lot.
raw dogging, you can go pee, but there's even more
All right.
extreme.
Okay, so is this what it looks like when like Zoomers discover meditation, or
Yeah.
like what is this?
Hold on.
They discovered what it feels like to not be tethered.
Hold on. You're actually putting credibility to this idea?
Wait, you guys
I'm
don't
literally, I'm literally the raw dog king.
You
A raw dog
you,
every flight.
You work only on flights.
I know. This is a whole different
You're
level.
full of shit.
Well, I never get the Wi-Fi. No
Was there
Wi-Fi
no
ever.
other like term we could have used for this?
I think it's a perfect term.
Honestly, I'm a big fan of it as well.
You guys are gross.
If I can raw dog anything, you know,
A
wherever
flight.
you
Your
can.
daughter's gonna watch this someday.
Do you ever just stare at the
Don't
flight
do
map?
that. Don't do that. I'm not supposed to think about that. Oh.
I don't know. I found myself just staring at the flight map
So,
sometimes.
like, okay, how many of us actually stare at the flight map, like, for some period of time?
Like, yeah,
Love.
some?
a
Love the
extended
flight
period
map.
of time.
I check it periodically, but once you see it, it doesn't go anywhere. You're
No, I'm
gonna-
not there for the information. I'm just taking it in.
I like
I'm
to see
just
the map.
experiencing it.
I like to see the speed that we're going. I like to see the outside air temperature.
Right?
But once you're past all of that, you just meditate into
No,
it.
no. Then it rotates. It goes back to altitude. Then
Well,
back
I'm
to
wondering.
speed.
I'm wondering. It's like, oh, it's getting colder. We must be going higher. Sure enough, altitude. There it is. But
Yeah.
I will never do this.
but
Ever.
I like. I don't actually think that this is like meditative or like beneficial for anybody.
I think it is.
You really do.
Yeah. Okay. You know how people say they get like so many ideas in the shower?
Yes.
You're not getting ideas in the shower. What you're
Well,
doing
hold on.
is
So
you're
fuck
just
I'm not.
I just said yes because I agree.
no. You're not getting ideas. You're getting ideas simply because you have finally for the first. By the way, I get so many ideas in the shower as well. However, people attribute it to the shower. It isn't the shower that is giving the ideas. It just so
the-
happens
it's
to
the
be the 10 minutes in your day that you aren't looking at a phone, that you're not working at a laptop, that you're not talking to somebody, that you're not thinking about 17 things at the same time. You get in the shower, all of that is removed, and you're left with your thoughts, and all of it all of a sudden just like rises to the surface.
See, I take my iPad into the shower now, so I don't get any ideas
Wait,
anymore.
what?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I
It's
don't
a
doubt
disturbing new trend I have.
I mean, I guarantee you there's going to be like, you know, screens that you can put on the wall. And
Okay, how many of
pretty
you
soon-
listen to like music in the shower?
no.
I don't do any music.
No.
Have you ever taken a Cruise Light to the shower?
Well,
Beer? Shower beer?
yeah, I've seen some
That
things
is
in my
one of
heyday.
the most underrated alphas.
Well, like, okay, let me ask you this. Of course, I've done that, but like, how often are you doing that in your like modern lifestyle?
no, it's like a vacation thing. It's
Vacation
like we go
thing?
to Cabo, shower beer the moment I arrive.
Shower beer on vacation is fantastic. I don't do that. I need to be
Should.
doing that.
Shower beer, 4th of July, shower beer
Ooh, tomorrow.
tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
Set the day right. You know, stuff like that.
So hold on. Happy 4th, everybody, in advance.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're gonna be hanging out.
hmm
You're saying you're gonna do a shower beer like first thing,
Yeah, I think it's, I just
It's
convinced
mandatory?
myself. Yeah.
as just like an FU?
Turkey Day requires one. You got to do one on
Whoa.
Turkey Day.
That's
Yeah.
aggressive.
I like to let off some shower fireworks. Yeah, it's
He's
really-
got his iPad
really
showing
good there,
fireworks
you
in the shower.
Shoot your guns off because you can.
Just actual
'Cause the
M80s,
freedoms.
Just throw them in there.
So do you guys think there's anything to this?
No,
Or-
but
To the
as soon
raw
as I get
dog?
up, before I browse the movies, the first thing I look at is what kind of flight map we're dealing with. Are we dealing with multiple angles? Can you have options? Can I spin the globe around?
I do
what
like
kind of
when it
data
gives you
are we
some
working
options.
with?
Yeah.
Do you guys go through all the
Interesting.
features like the games, the audio, the I don't know what else is on
The
there.
free socks.
Yeah, like you can order food. Like do you like go through the menus and stuff, or is it just
No,
straight
just,
to
just movies.
straight to movies?
Just movies.
Hmm.
I do love long haul flights. I
There's
just
so much to
love
do.
that.
There's so many activities.
There's
Armand and
not.
I were just talking
Sit in
about
a
how
chair.
Yeah.
we miss our flight pass days when we had a friend that worked for an airline,
Yes.
and we would just hop on a plane.
I think that was one of the most popular alfalfa rounds of all time. Was you guys sharing?
We
your,
talked about
your
that?
flight pass? Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder what
cool.
the going rate for a flight pass is these days.
These days?
We paid what, $500 a month
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're right.
Wait, $500 a month sounds ridiculously expensive.
You paid me? You don't have to
Yeah,
pay me,
you.
bro. Why
Pay
would
who?
you pay me? What are you talking
Who
about?
pays who?
You don't pay me.
Forget about it.
It's my gift to you.
Damn. I thought that was a one-time purchase.
No, it's like an annual thing. You know, yeah, you get the idea. But you know, unlimited standby travel. It was
Yeah, I mean, if you
we
get-
used to just like pick a flight anywhere that we could go get on business class. And to be honest, it was with United, and it was great. Polaris business class was pretty solid.
Just pick hot or cold.
And yeah,
Like, and then show up at the.
remember
the
we
biggest
almost went
hub?
to Argentina, but
Oh,
we ended
God,
up
we
in
were
Puerto Rico.
Fucking 30 seconds away from going to Argentina.
I know, we were 30 seconds away.
That's
Do you ever
deep.
just like
Still
walk
haven't
up
been-
there and with no idea
That's what we
whatsoever?
did this time.
That's what we did.
Okay, no
Yeah.
idea.
Because you on the laptop you can see what flights are available, and so you're sitting at the airport. We're both looking at okay,
So you have to choose a terminal to go into,
or
or
be a hub like LA for United,
but
LA, Denver.
but you're outside of the gates
No,
or
you're
whatever.
in-
No,
inside.
no, you're committing.
So you're in the
You're
gates.
past
Yeah.
security,
Okay.
and then you're like, okay,
Wait, how do you get past security?
You have a standby booked on anything.
you just pick a random flight.
but you
book a
can, like-
You have
standby.
a ticket,
But
but
you
it's
can
a standby
modify.
ticket. And then once you're past the gate, you're like, all right, where am I really going now?
Fascinating.
Yeah, it was a great world. Nick said it today or yesterday. He's like, are we ever going to have life like that again? Yeah.
Oh,
No.
It's
not
all
like
that.
that. Not like
It's a
that.
sad
It's
thought.
all like
Well,
the world's your oyster. You can do whatever you want.
My response to that immediately was like, it won't be that life. It'll be even better. It'll be a different one.
Different
It'll be
chapter.
a different version of that.
Yeah, because
know?
now you could just like buy whatever flight you want to go on.
Yeah, or
Like you don't need to like to this like ultimate freedom or whatever.
You
You,
know,
like
you-
the
but it's still
ultimate
fun
freedom.
to not know where you're going,
Yeah.
and then like
I mean, the ultimate
every-
freedom is to be able to just like go where you want to.
I think that's what we fail to realize sometimes is like, how do you inject more gratitude into every moment, knowing that every moment is fleeting? That's something that when he said that to me today, he's like, we're never gonna like, are we ever gonna have that again? That phase again? I was like, no, we're not. I wish I had been a little bit more grateful.
That touched
a little
me.
bit more present.
What
at
you
that
just
time.
said hit me, and I just started thinking about a lot of things where I'm like, God, there's so much to be grateful for.
All
Thank
of
you.
it, all of it,
All of it.
all of it. The
This.
the whole thing,
Podcasting
is
with you
finite
guys.
and fleeting.
Like yeah, just gotta.
We usually wait till we're an hour and a half in and a little more liquored up for that kind of talk. But I mean, I'm
well,
all
I've been
for
here
it.
since 3:00, so
well, I see some raw dogging in your future, Eric. Now that you're being grateful, opportunistic about traveling these days.
yeah, so much.
Yeah, you're doing it, man.
So much
enjoy this.
gratitude.
Enjoy this chapter. Enjoy this. You're really doing it. you
All
know?
right, let's hop into it. Everybody, welcome to the Alfalfa Podcast. We are live. Today is July 3rd. Live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST on YouTube. Come join us if you're not in the live. If you're listening, most of you are. Hop on. You could just, listen. Throw it in your pocket if you like to. Throw on the AirPods. All the links are at alfalfapod.com. And what's up to everyone in the chat? I see Nefarious, Tyler,
Nefarious
Mike,
sausage. It's back.
Benjamin, whole crew in here. Thanks for showing up live.
The chat loves
Um,
the shower beer, by the way.
Oh, yeah, shower beer is
Shower beer
very
is getting a good
popular.
reception in the chat.
Shower beer is real alpha.
Throw up a super chat if you want to support the pod and throw your comment on the screen. Any donations over $69 get a text to speech, goes live on the air. Good luck to everyone. Go ahead and support this pod by sharing this episode with a friend or tweeting it out. And check out pods.media/alfalfa for the digital collectibles. And today we are trying to come up with an American drinking theme since it is America Day. I think July 4th is my favorite holiday.
Really?
It embodies
You did say that a while back.
it
Yeah.
embodies a lot of things I like. Being outside, barbecuing, eating food, day drinking with your friends, sunshine, it's summer. It's just a all-around great holiday.
It's a great holiday.
It's the one I don't like when people are like, "Oh, are you going to be in the office?" I'm like, "Yeah, maybe," but this holiday I'm like, "Absolutely not."
Such a dictator. Yeah, the fact that this one lands on a midweek, like, does that like tingle your senses a little
A
bit?
little bit. It's a Thursday. It'd be nice if it was a Friday, but yeah.
Yeah, because when I saw that this is landing on a Thursday, immediately what I thought in my brain, this is my brain, 4-day bender.
You gonna do one? Are we on the start of it?
Yeah, obviously.
Well, actually, 5-day if you include right now.
Oh God, yeah, 5-day bender.
4th of July was like my favorite holiday as a kid. Like the best thing about 4th of July is that my dad and my uncles, they would go up to New Hampshire every year because they sold fireworks there, and they would just come back with just unbelievable amounts of fireworks.
Did you ever get the mega pack, like the $200 one with every single firework?
Bro,
in it?
we had like everything. We're just like out on the pond, you know.
I feel bad for the cities where they weren't allowed to do
like
that.
San Diego.
Yeah.
We grew up in
'Cause
Sacramento.
We grew
where-
up being
yeah.
able to just
Hold on, I've
blow
never
shit
heard
up.
of a
we
mega
had-
pack.
we
I've
had
never
New
heard of the
Year's.
mega pack.
Bro,
Okay, so
we
imagine-
were blowing shit up all night. Like shit
Everywhere.
that should be so illegal. I mean, is illegal in many places.
So
Yeah.
basically, imagine for the last 4 weeks, all there's been on every single corner you can imagine is a pop-up stand of fireworks. And every high school, every
That
middle
is
school
nostalgia right there.
fundraises by selling fireworks.
No
like
way.
Every
Yeah, dude.
every
Okay,
single corner of every street.
Huge, like Mac Daddy.
Have you guys ever seen
fucking fireworks?
or have you guys ever like driven through like the middle of the desert, like past Las Vegas, and you see these like fireworks shops or something?
That poor guy's never seen a fireworks shop
Like
before.
I that's the only time I've ever
literally
seen
what
this.
we're describing right now?
Yeah, but you guys had
But
it
we're
like
saying we have one at every corner.
yeah, it's like 7-Eleven
It's
for
just
you.
Like yeah.
yeah.
No, like I
no,
had-
even more because they're pop ups. So it was just like
it was like a special
everywhere.
thing for me to like drive cross country and be like, oh, there it is,
Yeah.
fireworks.
Yeah.
And then you just go out in your front yard and just light them up in the street.
yeah, no rules.
Can you buy fireworks
Freedom.
in Europe?
Can you buy fireworks in
Are
Europe,
there Europeans listening right now being like, you guys are...
or do they?
You just drive to a stand on the side of the road and buy explosives?
That's a good question.
Outside of the 1940s, they mostly had their independence. So I don't know what's to.
That's a good question.
celebrate.
Are
for-
fireworks more of an American concept, or I think they were like originated in China? But like, does anybody else like listen to them? Do fireworks?
I don't know.
do them like
Does anybody do them as like an activity?
Sure, people use them like throughout different celebrations.
Ask the
throughout
Euros in the
years.
chat.
Yeah.
Chat enlighten us. What other country
Yeah.
does fireworks?
That's a great
So
question.
today we're drinking Four Roses single barrel. I figured a bourbon is about as American as it gets
It's
because
tasty.
it can only be made in America, and we have some Coors Light as like
Can
a little.
Can I get a clink?
Yeah.
Little
No,
clink?
Steven, you got to clink
Oh.
me because then I'd be alone. Cheers.
See, I prefer the sound at the bottom clink. No. Turn your
Butt to butt.
butt. You see that difference? It was heftier. You got
I
the
wanna
liquid in
see-
the
I see
bottom.
what you did there.
Which
See
one-
that?
which
You
of
like
you
that,
guys
man?
are capable of twisting open the bottle top?
These callous hands.
Nick is so moisturized. There's no chance.
Twisting it
Yeah,
open.
it's a twist off. Yeah.
I go teeth.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Back of the
Cool.
knee.
All right, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Zbiotics. Check out zbiotics.com/alfalfa. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. You drink it before you start drinking to avoid that not so great feeling in the morning. So I took my Zbiotics before we started recording. Might bring a small batch to the party tomorrow. It's going to be a good combination. We got Zbiotics, alcohol, taco cart showing up for the crew.
Very American of us.
Yeah, I think so. Taco cart's kind of
It's very San Diego American.
yeah, very San Diegan. But yeah, I think it's some of the best alfalfa we had. It's going to save the day for 4th of July. It's also going to save 4th of July, so we won't be feeling shitty tomorrow for our little shindig.
Yeah, because Eric and I have to wake up at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. maybe, and watch Spain versus
Germany.
Germany,
In the Euro,
and Portugal versus somebody.
Portugal versus France in
France.
the
You might
Euro
have to,
Championship.
We have things to do the next
you might
morning.
have to drink your Zbiotics in the morning.
Probably
7
might have
a.m.
to double.
Double up.
5-day bender.
Yeah. Well, use code alfalfa at checkout to support the pod and get a 15% off. Zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Thank you guys for supporting the pod.
Indeed.
Um,
Thank you, Z.
Steven has a.
Hold on.
Yeah, go
We're
ahead.
moving on from call to actions.
Yeah, we're done.
I've been unfulfilled. I'm very unfulfilled. Call
Okay.
to action.
This
I'm
man
very
is never satisfied.
dissatisfied. To be honest, I love this community so much, but I'm a little disappointed. I asked for reviews on Apple Podcasts, and I would love to read some reviews. I was looking forward to reading some reviews, and you know what? There
Me
are
too.
None. There are none since that last.
Wow.
Daddy's
So I'm just
angry.
going to read one of the last ones.
Okay.
A circle jerk of condensation. Condensation. Condescension.
Condescension.
The dudes love themselves too much.
yeah.
I do love
sorry.
you guys.
I
No, I love myself.
I definitely love myself too much. Boring and elitist without reason. I don't know if it was the flight pass talk that triggered him, or Steven's future private jet, but I'm sure something triggered
I'd say
him.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that elitist.
9
It
out of
must
10
have been,
review.
Must have been you guys.
Okay, but was it 5 stars?
No, it was 1 star.
Oh, damn.
Still
Yeah,
9
that
out of
hurts.
10
I'll
review.
give you a 5-star one.
Well,
though.
hold on. Who was the elitist?
We're a 4.8.
Who was
so-
the elitist that he was talking about? Because it couldn't have been me.
Salt of the earth, this guy. Salt of the earth.
Gen Pop.
Best pod out there, best dudes, radically moderate thinkers. I'm addicted to this podcast and will be a listener for life. And one more. Alfalfa is by far the best podcast on investing in life I have ever listened to. Feels like I'm hanging out with the hosts in my home every episode. They are putting a fireside chat in every household. Great group of guys, not dependent on making money from the pod. No motives, not corporate, just good info. So thank you, both to the lovers and the haters, and I want more.
Well,
So
thank you.
please go to Apple
Thank you to everybody in the
Podcasts.
past, and no
Yes.
thank you to everyone in our current.
So please take 67 seconds, open up Apple Podcasts, leave a review, write something. We'll read it on the next pod, and much appreciated. Thank you. Hopefully, we'll not be as disappointed next week.
All right, last warm up. Steven has a debate. Apparently, he had a post pickleball debate. He wants to decide on the pod.
Oh,
Let's do it.
so I had a pickleball tournament this
Okay.
weekend.
How'd you do?
Shocker.
First of all,
Bronze medal.
okay.
Dude,
Bronze
my
medal.
man's like a
Fuck yeah.
4.7.
Steven's a
28 teams, by the way. This isn't one of those like, oh, I got bronze and it was a 5-team round
I
robin.
actually have no idea what a 4.7 means.
Steven's a
but I just-
4.7.
I
That
know he's a
is
4.7.
really fucking good. I'm a 4.0 in tennis, and I'm good. I play against college players. Steven's 4.7.
I'm coming for the Blockworks pickleball tournament.
Ooh.
I would show out for that.
Team
with
Heath
the,
Darts?
Yeah, we need like a team alfalfa, I think.
I would
We
like
need to,
show out
compete.
in like
If
merchandise.
anybody in the community knows how to play pickleball, hit me
I
up.
would wear a Magic Line shirt,
I'd wear I'd wear
and then I'd take off that shirt. Jokes on you. Magic Lines on my chest.
I would turn one of the memes that Calcium made into a shirt, like Laughing Steven,
Oh yeah.
or when he did the
Steven, who are the biggest contenders in your mind at Blockworks pickleball tournament?
yeah.
As far as I can tell from listening to the pods, nobody knows how to play pickleball.
Hal Press does.
Okay, I've heard Hal Press is good from Hal Press. I don't know if he's coming though. I think he's waiting for like 24K Bitcoin, just sitting in his office. I don't know. I don't know if he'll be there.
That was unnecessary.
Like that's just I'm not Hal. Okay, take it up with Hal.
Who would be good?
I've heard Evan is very good. Evan claims to be a 5-0.
Get out of town.
Yeah. So
Wait, how does this work? Like, how much better incrementally do you have to get to add points to your?
Like
You know.
so, the way this stuff works in
You
tennis,
beat more players.
the way this stuff works is
that
it-
are better
you-
than you, right?
You have to play like registered matches against like people that are also putting their rating on the line, and when you beat them, you get like a boop 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 higher based on how you performed and what their rating is.
it's like chess elo.
Yeah, it's like a pretty accurate reading of like your skill level, I think.
All right, we'll propose this debate to us.
Okay, so we had beers after, and over the beers, like a question was posed to me. I guess this debate had been being had before I got there. So my buddy's like, okay, sports debate. I'm like, yes, I love sports, all the time.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
He just likes arguing.
No,
Even
he-
the word debate.
Oh, you know what? I know for a fact that you triggered this whole argument, despite not caring at all.
No. So he's like, all right, settle a debate. Assuming that you have infinite stamina to make these attempts, which action could you perform first? Action 1 is hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in play from a major league pitcher. Option 2 is catch a pass from an NFL quarterback, but you are being guarded by an NFL cornerback.
So hold on, just specification. In play just means like between the two
Anything-
foul
yeah,
lines,
right.
with no defense.
So I was like, oh, obviously hitting the fastball.
Of course.
And then everybody's like,
No.
no. And I was people were chastising me.
No,
and
this is
I
ridiculous.
I felt like I was being gaslit because in my mind this was like a very obvious thing. I would love to hear from the chat what they think.
Yeah, this is more of a
easiest thing
chat
is.
question because I already know the answer. Like, because
Like,
I,
do you
I like
guys
sports.
do you guys think I'm tripping, or is that
No,
obviously
it's
the
definitely the
correct answer?
fastball.
No,
It's
you're.
not. You're doing the math wrong. You are. You guys are doing the math wrong.
Okay.
It's one of the
Okay.
hardest things in sports.
You have a
scientifically.
one-on-one between
Here
a
comes our math
pro
guy.
wide receiver. I'm the quant.
First of all, the
pro
fact that you
wide-
called him wide receiver already is wrong.
What?
Like, you're the wide receiver. He's the defensive back.
I'm describing the situation. You have a wide receiver. I'm describing the situation.
You are the wide receiver.
No, but like,
yes.
you're not professional. Okay.
You're not even letting the
Let him cook.
initial words
Let him
get out
cook.
of my mouth.
Yeah, just let him cook.
Let him
So, in a normal situation, you have a professional wide receiver,
Oh,
and you
okay.
have a cornerback who's also a professional. Equal terms.
Right.
There's variance between like Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders, but like there's variance, and like sometimes it's
Nice
easier.
pull, sir. Nice
Yeah,
pull.
You're welcome. And so
Yes.
what you have is what is the success rate of like I'm going to run a route and I'm going to catch that versus an equally calibered cornerback. It's kind of low. It's like equivalent to the average sort of like batting rate of a baseball
it's
player.
not.
Yes,
Like-
it is. The best
Hello,
the best
good
player
sir.
bats
What is your batting rate?
the best player bats
Hello,
like
professional
300.
wide receiver.
No, think about
How
it.
do
Think
you
about
do,
it.
fellow?
Think about it. Think about it. The best player bats 300. The best wide receiver, I'd love to know what their batting average is. Right? It's probably like 300.
Hold
Probably
on.
So-
a lot higher
So
than.
so the point is,
I don't know a lot about
imagine
football, but I'm pretty
now
sure.
now
it's
you
a lot
just
higher
took
than
now you just took a nobody versus the professional cornerback. What do you think that batting average is going to be?
I'm so. I can't even.
What are we in?
I
By
can't
the way,
even focus.
I don't think Armand even agrees. He's arguing for my side right now.
I can't even focus.
He's
I'm
like,
having.
hold up.
I'm having way too much fun, and I'm also wondering if like the whole podcast should just be this, where we just throw out hypothetical,
Where we get dumber and dumber?
just like hypothetical nonsense.
No,
and
it is
just like
Ree's gonna be like, man,
Arguing-
this podcast used to be something.
Arguing about nothing is
Okay,
the key
you're
to
telling
success.
me you guys can't catch a 7-yard slant pass against a NFL
okay, here
No,
goes.
cornerback versus
because an NFL cornerback will annihilate me in 3 seconds before I even get to where I need to
But you
get
got
to in
Tom
7
Brady
yards.
throwing to you.
Doesn't matter.
Get out of here.
So I know
Doesn't
Nick.
matter.
I know what Nick's doing. He's trying to play the other side just for the sake of conversation.
No,
no,
he
I
believes
actually
this.
think
He
that's
said-
the answer.
Yeah.
No, it is definitely not the. First of all, an NFL cornerback is going to jam you at the line
At the
because
line.
that's
That's what I said.
Yeah, that's like how you play football.
Not
Is
even
like
getting off the line.
you get yeah you
You're not going
like,
anywhere.
Like none of us would get like 2 yards. Like we wouldn't even move.
You just start crying.
What about a screen pass? I literally take 3
Go
steps
ba-
back.
go backwards.
Yeah, go backwards. I catch the pass.
Pick
Done.
6, interception.
No, you
No.
can't.
You wouldn't
go
get past
behind
the line, this line of scrimmage.
You have to gain a yard for the sake of the argument.
Yeah.
But okay, I wonder of the 4 of us who's hitting the fastball.
Ooh, not me.
Like if your life was on the line, you would just.
I mean,
you just,
Nick would
you
hit
just
the
bunt.
fastball.
Put
Nick's the only one that played baseball.
So you
do
put the
something approaching
you put
bunting.
the bat out there, you bunt it, and it's in play.
Nick would hit the ball.
That's equivalent of the screen pass.
I think if you gave 1,000,
Okay,
if you gave 1,000 attempts to Nick, he'd hit one of them.
One?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd probably hit more.
he'd
But
hit
yeah.
one.
Yeah. How's your shoulder doing?
1 in a
Ah,
thousand.
it's good. It stays low in a swing. You know, it's not up here.
But if you gave
dislocating.
1,000 to any of us, we wouldn't touch it.
Any of us?
Yeah.
Bro, I'd bat 300.
I said I could go 1 for 30 bunting.
Oh my God, no.
Okay, bunting doesn't count.
Bunting doesn't count.
I played baseball. Shocking,
You
I know.
you have like 3/10
thought-
of a second to make a decision.
But
if you're
bunting
gonna
doesn't
get a
count.
swing or
Like
not.
I
for
know,
the sake
I
of
know.
this, no screen passes and no bunting. How about that? Like how many like fastballs could you like put in play?
A major league fastball moves. It's not straight.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm afraid to be in there.
Right.
I'm
Okay,
terrified.
but with a fastball, like by
I wouldn't
sheer,
even be able to
sheer
walk up to the plate.
randomness, the bat is going to contact the ball and go and play at some point.
Get the
The
fuck
NFL quarterback you're never going to catch the bass.
I agree.
You're never going to catch the bass. You're
I'm
just going to be
with I'm with
smothered.
Steven on this.
All
And
right.
Thank you for. I had a lot of fun with that. Thank you.
Thank you for questions that can't be answered.
Chad is divided, I think.
All right, let's do a quick
Hook-
alfalfa
Hook-
round.
I agree with Hookham. Can close your eyes and swing and eventually hit. Can run routes forever against an NFL CB and never get open. Yes, I agree.
Oh,
I
yeah,
agree with this.
I agree with that.
Like those cornerbacks are so fucking
Yeah.
athletic that like, and they're like stronger than all of us. Like they're just so.
they are the most athletic person on the field. First,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
all.
Like within football,
Within
they're the
football.
most athletic, probably, and then against us.
And you could argue across any sport in America,
Yeah.
that's like the most difficult.
Have
Yeah.
you seen my
it's just-
calisthenics workout?
Nick would be like, give him a dead leg and then run by.
Can I
Ref
kick them
didn't see
first?
it.
All right. I see Steven and Armand got some alfalfa for the episode.
I want to do another version of that where it'd be like score a penalty against like Gianluigi Buffon
Okay, I had another one. If you guys want to do this,
versus.
I had
you know-
$1,000 wager with my former roommate. If you guys want to play this one,
Okay.
Yeah.
it was he's a soccer player. You know, you guys know Chris King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a basketball player. Here's the. I can't wait to share this with you. Okay, $1,000 wager, 10 attempts. I shoot a wide open 3-pointer, like no defense. He kicks a ball from the penalty box, 18-yard box, and there's a stop sign in the corner of the goal frame, and he has to hit the stop sign.
And who gets the most out of 10?
Who gets the most out of 10?
I'm betting on you, 3-point land.
What?
Stop sign.
Stop sign.
What?
I mean,
Hold
Chris
on.
King is a
Stop
very good
sign?
soccer player.
No, what in the hell are you talking
Stop
about?
sign?
Even this was a discussion you had,
I didn't even take the wager out of pity.
dude. Let me make sure I understand. You take
Bro,
a
you're
3-pointer.
making like 1.5 threes.
You take a 3-pointer.
1.53s out of 10 unguarded?
You have
Yes.
to take a 3-pointer.
I want CIF.
Hold on.
See, get the fuck out of here.
Hold on.
Wait, NBA 3?
I don't think I even understand because I think it's so ridiculous.
That's a fair NBA 3 is a fair
Yeah.
question.
You simply have to take a 3-pointer,
make a 3.
and he has to hit a target
At the top 90
In the
degree
upper
angle.
V.
Yeah.
from the opposite box.
Stop sign's
No,
pretty
just like
big.
from the
Penalty
18-yard
kick.
box.
Oh,
So not a penalty shot.
Okay, I
the
did
18-yard
misunderstand.
box.
I thought you meant literally his goal. I
No,
was
no,
like,
no.
That's absurd.
Oh, because he's a goalie. I understand
Jesus
why. you
Christ.
say
Okay,
that.
no, I mixed that up. Okay. No, I'd still go with you.
Making a 3?
I still go
Stop
with you.
sign, bro.
No, what he's talking about is way harder.
Yes.
Like hitting the upper 90 of a...
I mean, I'd put the money on me, but I don't know about Chris. You know, I'm just kidding.
We're back.
I love
Wow.
Chris. I love
All right, we got a
Chris.
lot to get to, so
Yeah, sorry.
What do
Sorry
you guys
about
wanna-
that.
who
derailment.
wants
I
to
could
go?
do this though.
I know you
I
could.
could do this.
I'm sensing it. I'm feeling it.
I
in
like
my,
this.
Eric really wants this to be the whole show.
Steven, tell us about
Wait, do Armand first.
do Armand first?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Mine will transition.
Armand has alfalfa.
I do?
Yeah.
We have
Okay.
maybe
Yeah, I got something quick.
Icon has alfalfa.
Sure.
We sharing this on the screen?
Let me pull it up first.
What do you got?
Yeah. I really liked this, and I've been using it lately.
3.
So, yeah, please share screen. Very powerful prompt. Explain it with gradually increasing complexity. If you are like me,
Ooh.
and the way you learn is you like to go from like the most macro way in the simplest form of understanding something to like more details, and or like I often use like first principles in my prompt. I'm like explain the first principles to me, and then let's expand from there once I understand the building blocks of how this works. This prompt works really well. And so what it does is it forces you to have a conversation and to treat the LLM more in that manner of like sequential steps versus a lot of people try to get everything all at once. And so this is a pretty powerful prompt.
That's good, alfalfa.
I
That's good.
thought you
I
were
love
talking
that.
about when talking with other people, but you were talking about when talking with the
That
machine.
too.
With the
Well,
machine.
Wait, hold on.
You know, the greatest teachers teach that way. Like a Richard Feynman teaches that way. It's like let's like start with the blocks, and then increasingly, become more.
There's
complex.
a great YouTube series that I like that does this format. I forgot who does it, but they'll be like a quantum physicist and they'll explain quantum physics, right? And they'll start off with like a 5-year-old, and then they'll explain it to like a middle schooler. Then they'll explain it to like a first-year college student. Then they'll explain it to like a PhD in the field, and it just kind of goes. And it's like a really interesting way to learn to learn it. I find it like very good for learning about the thing they're talking about because you get hit with it like 4 or 5 times, and it like ramps.
So I like this, but I have a question for you guys. Like, how do you determine where your conversation partner is in the education curve? Because like when I'm talking to clients, for instance, particularly new clients, like I will have to determine like, okay, so what's your knowledge base? And if I come out of the gates like, have you heard of a stock before? Like that's gonna.
Well, I think the smart person doesn't speak until they know, right? Like you don't go until you actually know the answer, right?
But it's hard to determine the answer. But between like a 5th and an 8th grader.
But you're asking
you know what I
questions
mean?
before you're pitching, for sure.
I like your question. I think that no matter how well I know something, I really appreciate learning it for the first time from a new person. So I always like when people start with like the dumbest version because it's in their words with their building blocks. So I still kind of like it when people do that. Like, hey, I know you know all about stocks, but let me explain it in the most basic way from my perspective. I almost end up learning something new from that person.
Calcium says, Wired on YouTube does that.
Yes, it's
Explains
Wired,
in
yeah.
5 levels of difficulty.
Wired?
Yeah, Wired does it. It's like a really cool, actually, little series if you want to check it out.
Is
They
that
do
like
a bunch of stuff.
Wired magazine? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
What else
Kevin
you got?
Kelly's magazine.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. So the second piece, really quick, is kind of startup entrepreneurship, founder mentality, alfalfa, and something that Nick and I mentioned is we should do more often. Is just kind of bring up these conversations. But this is a great tweet on how to ship fast as a small company looking for product market fit. Product market fit is the holy grail. Product market fit is everything as a tech startup, as a startup at all in general. And all efforts should be oriented toward achieving product market fit as fast as possible. As an anecdote, or just even as just a simple a sort of data point, is like I have never once seen a company achieve product market fit that has failed, and I can't think of one. So if you can think of one, share with me, because that would be a very interesting case study. So that's why it's really like if you want to reduce all existential risks, that's the most important thing. So how do you do that as a small company with limited resources? 5 tips. Avoid side quests. Focus on coding, focus on selling, and talking to users. That's it. No process. Don't add, sprint planning and offsites and recurring one-on-ones. Just gather, talk about what needs to ship, and ship it. Hire people who love to ship fast, just like you. And if they can't do this, most people cannot do this, so don't bother working with them. Don't hire people who can't ship fast. It's tempting to be like, we need an EA, or we need a business development person, or we need a social media manager. All this really does for the founding team, typically, I agree, this is true, is it creates more work for you. You have very limited time. You got to focus on shipping product, talking to users, and selling. And then have a simple and fast tech stack. So a new hire should be able to write a feature in a day and deploy it to users in 30 minutes. That means you're deploying multiple times a day. And that's something really awesome to strive for. By the way, this is for the crypto people. This is the guy building Farcaster from him.
Do you feel like you're following all of these rules?
I do, and it felt really good to discuss this as a team when I found it. And every time I find something like this, I throw it in our research channel in our Slack or a random channel, and then I tend to bring these things up when we kick off meetings. And I'm like, these are guidelines. These are really cool, like, discoveries. And yeah, I do, and that feels really good. I think the thing that every company can improve on, and even I can improve on, is like avoiding side quests. So it's so easy to get caught up in like, oh, there's this really fucking cool opportunity, or we should make a new demo video, or we should do this like thing. But if it's not shipping product and code, and if it's not selling or talking to users, you cut it. And so that phrase of side quests, I think I got from the founder of Linear about a year ago. And the moment that I got that shaped our conversations to where we now have a nomenclature for respectfully calling each other out and saying, hey, that's a really cool idea. Kind of sounds like a side quest to me. Let's tag it side quest in Linear and revisit it later. So then you capture it, no one feels bad, you move on. You focus on what matters. So I think that's the real alpha there, is the staying away from side quests.
How many times
Love
has
it.
your product and your market changed since you founded Steno?
Too many.
But
Many.
It's part of the
many.
process, right?
It's part of the process.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing that it changed. It's like
Yeah, some people would
supposed to be
call it
the
a
point.
pivot. Some people call it iterating. I think if you're not iterating and you're not constantly pivoting, then you're not on the path to achieving product market fit.
cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
We could do a whole
So,
segment on that.
good stuff.
Steven, what do you got, sir?
So I got a couple things for you guys. First, on a personal note, before I say this, disclaimer: I'm not a doctor. Don't do anything I say. But with that being said, I started taking like some peptides a couple weeks ago.
Ooh, injectables?
One
Or
Rectum?
So I'm starting with the oral. Like it's a little sketchy sourcing the injectables right now.
How's your trip to TJ?
Yeah, we have a doctor in the family, runs a men's health clinic. Talk to him about it and everything. But I started taking I think it's BPC 157. Have you heard of this?
Not that one particular one.
Yeah. So I mean, I've had like chronic ankle pain for like years. You know, just like severe inflammation, just constant. And this stuff is apparently like really good for recovery. That it just all things recovery, and I started taking it, and like I feel like really good actually, even just with the oral stuff. So like I've been kind of turned on to this whole world now. I'm like kind of looking through all of the whole catalog of everything, and it's like a
Like,
intriguing.
It's like now you're
Space.
going to become a peptide guy. Like,
I might be. I don't know. Like maybe.
so hold on. Like, I know you had the ankle problem. You had surgery a long time ago, and that was giving you a lot of pain. So pain alleviated now, or like what does it feel like now? The ankle.
It feels good. So I used to wake up every day. Like if I played pickleball, right, I would wake up the next day and just I wouldn't even be able to like put pressure on my foot, and I would have to take like every so often I'd have to take like 2,400 milligrams of ibuprofen for like a
Whoa.
couple days.
Right
Just,
up to right up to the buffer there.
yeah, like hardcore. Don't do that a lot. You just will destroy your stuff. It was like bad, right? So icing, and now like I've been playing, and I wake up and I feel like fine, and it's been pretty nice. It's kind of
Sounds-
like opened my
sounds-
eyes to
Sounds
this.
amazing.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm unfortunately getting kind of old, and I've just started like dipping into the world of there's this stuff you can do to not feel old as fuck anymore.
Damn. Like what are the pro athletes doing? You think like
Oh,
All the
dude.
things.
I mean, these guys are spending like over $1 million a year.
I heard
like,
LeBron spends $1
on-
million on his body.
on their body, like every year in, year out. Like it's crazy to think about what they're doing. I mean, we get to follow Brian Johnson and what he does. Obviously, I don't what he spends multiple
couple
millions,
million,
right?
yeah.
So they're doing kind of, I would guess, similar stuff to him.
Do you like? Yeah, man, this is cool. What are the other peptides? Like some are for recovery. Are there other ones for?
It's like fat burning. They get stuff for like everything. I don't know any of the merits of any of these things, but like I've I had heard this one was actually like pretty legit. Talked to family doctor, was like, yeah, this stuff's pretty good, but unfortunately, like you can't really source it, in the States because of but there's some places where you could sell it orally. It's not as beneficial if you take it via pill form.
How much is it, by the way? Is it expensive?
It was expensive. I think it was like $150 for like a 1 month supply.
And you have to be prescribed by a doctor. Is that?
No, but like he told me to also like go on it and like cycle off for a few months, and there's like a whole thing. So don't do this without talking to a doctor.
Are you doping for pickleball?
Yeah, my cousin wants to know.
In a way, yeah, kind of.
So like, are some of these peptides on like a banned list, like in major leagues?
I'm sure some of them are. I mean, you're going into a realm where I don't want to like comment because I don't know what I'm talking about. I can't stress it
You
enough.
just
but,
feel
like,
phenomenal. I like that.
Yeah, it's just like an
so
interesting,
the ankle
interesting
pain-
thing that's happening in my life that I wanted to share.
All right.
Yeah, and so the main thing though is the ankles.
Yeah, but in general, like I feel like I've been kind of dealing with like chronic soreness. It's been like really bad. Like so like I do notice the sort of mitigation to that for sure.
What's your pain level now? I'm sure you're not like pain free, right? Like, what's your pain level when you like play like 3 hours of pickleball and you wake up in the morning? Now you said before you would take 2,400 milligrams of ibuprofen or something. Like now, what do you do? Like, are you?
Like I feel fine right now. Like I walked here and I felt no pain.
You walk to the office?
No, from my car.
Oh. Wow.
But most like a lot of Wednesdays I do play in the morning and I walk here from my car and I'm just like, Jesus, this hurts. So it's been nice.
All right. What's your
Wow.
second bit of alfalfa, sir?
Okay. Do you have it in the card there? Can you pull it
I saw
up?
the tab
It's
up.
in my card.
I don't see
Just a
a
little piece of financial
I don't see a Steven
alfalfa.
card.
Scroll up.
Scroll up. Keep going.
There's no Steven card.
Do you see it? You got it? Is there a little tweet there? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have that open.
So there's some dark times right now in the crypto markets, unfortunately. I
Is this the one?
maintain that these dark times are just a
No, I'm just gonna open.
time
it.
of opportunity.
Is this the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's
Okay.
been a lot of FUD around FTX distributions in the past, kind of distributing coins. These coins are going to get dumped. But the DeFi investor on Twitter, put out a little thing talking about how there's going to be 16 billion in cash distributed
Oh,
to customers, which is a lot of money.
Hmm.
A lot of money that's about to pour into a very depressed market with a very orange, very crypto-friendly president possibly coming in. Max devastating sentiment. I just think this particular moment in time we're in general, it reminds me of last summer. And last summer I was a little early to the buy call, a little bit, right? But like the same sort of setup existed where there were these obvious bullish catalysts
Yeah.
to be buying, but like people just react to what price is, and because price was down, people were just sad. And of course price went up and people were happy again, but like all the stuff was there. And like I would maintain that at this moment in time, the setup is like even more bullish, because we're not just talking about Bitcoin getting an ETF. We're talking about like the mainstreaming of like all of crypto. Like, the people smell blood in the water. We saw Van Eck apply for like a Solana ETF, last week, which was pretty crazy. But and I don't know if you guys saw it in the news today, but like Trump was talking about like Trump like wakes up every day and he's like, what can I pander? What can I do to pander?
Yeah.
And like today he was talking about adding Bitcoin as like a strategic reserve for the United States.
Damn, he said that?
Yeah. So like I'm seeing all this stuff happen. I'm seeing price where it is. I'm seeing everybody sad, and I'm just like, oh my God, what an incredible freaking opportunity.
that's some good pandering.
As long as you don't blow yourself up, like I don't know, like I would be curious, like how are you guys feeling about things right now? Are you just chilling for the summer, not
Yeah.
thinking about it too much?
Don't touch anything.
I am literally chilling for the summer.
I know we haven't
Still
we haven't
buying.
done too much of a financial deep dive in a while, but
Still
just wanna do,
DCAing
like,
a little bit of
little
ETH
heat
here
check.
every day. Not so much an ETH a day keeps the doctor away, but DCAing enough. And
Eat a day makes you go fucking insane, dude.
yeah,
This is why we're elitist.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it right there.
and then just not don't trade. Just let it do its thing.
I feel the same way, but I didn't. I've been like off the internet for a while, and that's felt pretty good. But
The internet?
yeah, I've kind of like been off the internet like for a little while. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's amazing.
I saw that debate.
Wow.
I saw the debate.
No X either?
I check in, but like I'm not Steven level in the weeds.
Yeah.
But I'm not super in the weeds now either. Like
This is Stephen post Burgundy, post France.
He's a new man.
Yeah, can you sense it?
yeah. Well, like coming into May, I was like, I know this is what's going to happen. It's like this is what's going to happen. I'm just like not gonna overtrade it, and just most of the stuff I've posted about has remained like kind of big picture. Like, does it bother me when we go from 34 to 33? Not really. Like all these moves are kind of whatever.
So
'cause,
what's the catalyst that gets us out of this sideways action
I mean, we're going to have an ETF approval, I think,
in July, right?
next week maybe, or the week after. Like,
Is that the
it's-
catalyst?
That's a catalyst, but then like I think we have so many catalysts that you can't even think about, because like if people were already talking about them, they'd already kind of be priced in, and so they wouldn't sort of be
Yeah,
a catalyst. But a catalyst could be just like the ETF performing
at all.
at all, because
Yeah.
it's basically priced in to be terrible, right?
Right.
Right. It's like a nothing
Right.
burger as it's priced now.
Which, to be fair, is a reasonable thing if you're launching like the second fiddle crypto ETF in the middle of summer as the Bitcoin ETF is kind of languishing a little bit. Like everybody is.
I actually prefer an October
thinking
launch
that.
than like a midsummer launch, but
Yeah, I mean, you asked how people are feeling. I'm generally very bullish, but like my time horizon is different
Yeah.
than a trader's.
There's actually another interesting chart in
I'm
the.
bullish for like a year to a year and a half.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Oh, okay.
And on that note, like, can you pull up the other chart that was in that thing? Because I thought this was like.
Is it like a
interesting.
scroll down situation? Or?
It should be in the card. Just pull it up in the card. Yeah. So this is from Jamie Coots, who I think like does some nice work
he works for Bloomberg, right?
on. I think. Wait, no, he works for. I think he works for like Raoul Paul now. Actually,
Oh,
he's full. He's full Banana Zone employed.
okay.
The bananas are a little ripe at the moment, but.
I still don't know what that means. Every time I saw it, I was like, I'm not gonna look that up.
You just
I just avoided it.
Just go with it, man.
Yeah.
But what he's done is he's sort of charted like the ratio of like kind of small cap altcoins to Bitcoin, right? And sort of plotted this as like a Z-score, so you can kind of see how like overheated or like underheated, I guess, it is on a relative basis. And like the reading we are at right now is just like extreme red, meaning like the ratio of altcoin market cap to the market cap of Bitcoin is at like extreme lows.
Okay, this is pretty compelling.
Can you click that image, Armand, just so we can like zoom in on the chart a little bit?
That's pretty
Yeah.
compelling at a almost negative 200.
So you want to see the thing at the bottom, especially is
Yeah, 'cause that-
is the gold there. Yeah. So you can see we're basically at like the panic kind of selling levels of
This is
the last
Z-score
bear.
of price or Z-score of what?
Z-score of market cap to market cap ratio. So like altcoin market cap ratio to Bitcoin
Okay.
market cap.
Okay.
So like all one of the reasons I think like crypto Twitter is so down right now is because a lot of these people aren't like, they don't just like, I just hold a bunch of ETH, right?
yeah.
And if you hold a bunch of
same.
ETH for the last couple of months, you're fine. You're up maybe even, but like some of these coins are just down bad, completely shellacked, and you can see we just had a little.
Well,
blip of
everyone
altcoin
over bet on
outperformance.
fucking meme coins, and that's
Well, I
not
think-
why they're depressed.
I think what's important, like when you look at a chart like this, like what's important to see is like what happened when we went to like bleeding red levels in the past. So I'll switch back to the screen here, and it seemed in 2019 to have like marked a bottom, near bottom. It
What
seemed
was
to be
June 2022?
June 2022.
There?
pretty marked a bottom. Looks like, according to this thing.
Yeah.
Right about there. Yeah.
Yeah, so chat's saying this is just a version of Bitcoin dominance. It's
Yeah.
true, but this is Bitcoin dominance plotted in a particular way where you can sort of view the extremes. Like how extreme of a reading is it as opposed to like the absolute level, So if you're kind of playing for some mean reversion or something, and like I've tweeted some charts on Bitcoin dominance over the last few weeks. Like I feel like Bitcoin dominance is looking like it's going to fall off a cliff. Like I actually think it's like a super interesting time to be investing in like certain altcoins. I think some of them do suck, but like crypto is like wildly underperformed in aggregate, like stocks. Like we
Oh,
all
yeah.
obviously should have just bought Nvidia. We'd all be a lot happier.
Don't
Dude,
break
I
it
noticed
up.
that, like, so, 2 years ago or 18 months ago, you flipped, like, uber bullish. And that was a great call. And I think all of our listeners and us, we participated in that, and it was rad. But then you look at, like, what outperformed amongst, like, that cohort of, like, everything that was outperforming. It was really stocks. It was like
Stocks,
tech
yeah.
stocks.
Like we should have bought stocks for sure. So it sucks when you get the bullish trade, right? But it's like the wrong,
Yeah.
like the wrong asset you
I
buy.
mean, even ETH probably doubled.
It's still up a lot.
Yeah.
But like on a risk adjusted basis,
Yeah.
especially,
Right.
like could have bought other stuff. But like I think zooming out, and maybe this will transition us into our next segment. Like there is a massive tide change that is potentially coming in place right now with the new administration. We just had a Supreme Court ruling knocking down Chevron deference. Maybe we'll talk about that. I don't know. But like all of these things are sort of like laying the groundwork for a completely different regulatory framework for like crypto. And it could totally change the entire landscape of like investing in crypto assets. And everybody's sort of like max depressed right now at I think the worst possible time to be max depressed.
Well, let's lay out the broader
always like that.
monetary like change that could possibly happen. Where kind of inflation is going down towards 2%, we could possibly switch
Yeah.
to finally decreasing interest rates.
Truflation put out a reading 1.8% a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so-
Whoa, hold on. That's pretty compelling.
Good or bad though?
Good.
Because what I'm
It's bad if the Fed doesn't cut immediately,
Right.
Because they're kind of at risk right now. I think of doing their
Overshooting,
thing where they
yeah.
overshoot.
Well, they're always a
Driving
little
us into a
they're always a
ditch.
little lagged, I think, on all this stuff.
yeah, they're never really good at like the gradual stuff. They usually overreact, underreact. So I think you assume they might underreact.
I mean, when you listen to those like conference calls or whatever with Jerome, every time he's like, that's what the questions that he's answering are like based around like, so are you guys going to do the same thing you did previous couple times where you like didn't do anything? So I think it's like on their radar.
So this is the point where, maybe the yield curve starts to uninvert. We start to decrease interest rates. Sometimes when you look back, it seems like those are the times when things start to do worse, like the stock market in particular. But
For
It
like
seemed-
for a pretty short period of time.
right. So I mean, is this changing? Does this changing of the monetary like guard make you nervous at all, or still bullish?
Depends what the Fed does. Like I think if the Fed doesn't cut, then they will drive us off a cliff. I think they should cut like immediately. I don't think there's a high chance of a cut in July, but I think there is some chance that they do end up cutting in July. And to Armand's point about catalysts, like that would certainly be a catalyst.
So what's the key metric to keep an eye on? Like, is it initial claims of unemployment claims?
I don't know. I think all of these metrics are coming. Like everyone that I look at, like was like coming in soft, right? And like the Fed is talking like it's not really, but like they could just be giving themselves some space. You never know, but
I will tell you anecdotally, as like someone has multiple job openings and is hiring and looking at different types of roles, it's a great time to be hiring people. Like it is completely switched. We're getting massive numbers of applicants, no negotiating on the offer. Like,
Which is typically a bad sign.
well, it just means that like,
It's a
there
good
may
sign
not
for-
be as many openings. There may not
Yeah.
be, and I'd say about 6 months to a year ago, all the job applicants, the candidates that were qualified that came to us, already had jobs. They were just like looking for something better. And I maybe done more than that, maybe 10 interviews in the last 2 weeks, and about a third of them don't have a job currently, which I hadn't. It was weird to hear on the phone that they're like, no, I don't have a job currently. And I was like, I haven't heard that in a long time, whether they either left or got laid off or got fired. So that was new. So I don't know, anecdotally, feels a little soft. Maybe just in California. I know the unemployment rate is higher in California than it is the national
Yeah.
average.
All right, that was good shit. I missed talking money. We got a bunch of topics to get to, boys.
Okay, what's next?
Let's are we what is next? Is it the
Do we have to-
election?
we have to talk about the. I mean, it sucks
All right.
that we had this episode like
I
literally.
know we had
right
it the day before.
before the debate.
But let's
wait, hold on.
talk. We're talking about the presidential
I
debate.
pulled up the poly market for you in one of the tabs.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Did you?
It's been a
One
wild
more,
week.
one more.
It's been
There-
a
no,
wild
one more.
week.
Oh, thank
There you go.
Yeah.
Show that on the screen. Oh
Okay.
boy.
Kamala.
I didn't bet a lot of money on this,
This is accurate.
but it turned out really
This is
good.
pretty good.
I put most of it on Newsom, and it was like a triple up. But I remember at the time we showed this, you were laughing how Kamala
Yeah.
was below other at 2%.
Yeah, what a
Below other.
So
as the presumptive second.
In
line.
hindsight,
would have
as
been
always,
18, would have been an 18
it makes
bagger.
sense.
You're
It
welcome
makes
for the
sense.
18x people. Hope some of you took that. I know I didn't.
This was more like a sports bet, not like an investment. You know, this wasn't like a.
Can we just talk about how screwed the Democrats are?
They're in a little of a pickle.
I mean,
They're in a huge pickle.
The odds.
They
of
have
the-
no other option other than Kamala.
guys. The odds when I woke up this
They
morning,
can't
by
go
the way,
to anyone else. I realize.
Biden was 22% this morning to be the Democrat nominee at one point, and Kamala was like 40 something.
on
Like,
this.
yes, like at one
So
point
it's-
this
Wait, refresh
morning,
it again.
Kamala was 2-1 to
Well,
be.
what
the
happened? Was there
Democratic
some
nominee.
news or something?
I think the New York Times
So-
released some
Refresh is the
content
same.
from like maybe an inside source, and then later in the day, I think Biden was just like, "Oh, I'm not going anywhere," and then
Yeah, he's
kind of
doing
came
the
back
I'm not
to-
going anywhere. What a tragic downfall. Tragic. Always leave before your time is up. Always leave on top in everything you do in life.
So yeah,
It's one of
so
the
a week
rules.
ago, before the debate happened, I was asking you guys. I was like, "Hey, I don't follow this stuff, but it seems like there might be upside to Joe Biden's position because we all expect him to fail miserably based on like the little like social media clips that we see on his current state of cognitive ability." And then we saw him debate, and then it like didn't
Within minutes.
like within minutes, you could-
seconds.
within seconds, you could tell that like his
Yeah,
cognitive
he
ability
showed up like
was
Did
was
you
gone.
guys watch this live?
I did,
watched
yeah.
the whole thing.
With somebody?
I watched the whole
I
thing.
watched it by myself.
Like the moment he
live.
walked out, like I feel like everybody who was watching this with somebody just like looked and went like,
Oh no.
"Look, are you?
I
are you seeing what I'm seeing?"
immediately was just like, oh no. He's gonna have a catastrophe.
Oh.
And then when he did the main part, the Medicare, remember when he just completely blanked out and
Anyway,
went like,
we
He glitched out.
we beat Medicare.
when he did that, I lost my mind. I was like, oh my God, this is going to get clipped like crazy. Like, this is the moment that's going to define how poorly he did. It was so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
So,
so bad.
long story short, we were not surprised on the upside at all. Like I thought we could be surprised to the upside. We were
Right.
not.
Right.
Like
Right.
like social media accurately portrayed his cognitive abilities. He is not fit to run again.
They didn't
So
portray anything. They just literally clipped him.
him like
This is him.
So-
this is who he is.
So I want to ask you guys, like, because we can take this in a lot of different directions, but I want to ask you guys, like, where do you see this going now with this guy who's like not fit to even like fulfill his term, in my opinion? Like, but like, what about what happens in November? Like,
Yeah.
what happens?
I mean, it's interesting. I think that the things to try to understand are, one, what option allows the campaign to keep the money that's already been fundraised. That's like the key thing. Like I've read different things. I've read that if Kamala becomes the nominee, they can keep the money. I've heard that if it's someone else, the campaign can transfer the money to the Democratic, like the DCC, and then the DCC can then reallocate the funds to a different campaign. So that's interesting. And then the other thing to think about is what states can actually change the name on the ballot. I think there's a few states you can't change them. It's locked in,
it's like already locked in.
already locked in. And so those are the things to think about. And
So even if it's
come on.
even if it's Kamala,
It's not. No, it has. That would be fine, probably.
I don't know.
Oh,
This is
with
the
the
things that-
ballot change.
I think these are what people in the Democratic Party are trying to figure out. Like, how do we get the
there's
ballot
scrap.
changed?
I mean, you already described a loophole for number one, but number two, that's a real deal breaker. Number one's fine.
Yeah.
If there's a loophole to be able to funnel money to a new candidate through the DCC or whatever,
Hold
it's
on.
like whatever.
So okay,
But if you can't change someone on a state ballot, like that's a game.
so
that's a deal breaker.
Kamala's been invisible for 4 years.
As every vice president
And
is.
she was only placed there because of what she represents.
It was like a DEI interest.
She's not popular. She's not popular.
So
She was out doing things for a bit, and then they were like, ugh, maybe just like don't go out anymore. And then
yeah, they
she
pulled her
disappeared.
back. She's been in hiding for like the last couple of years.
Saw a poll today that the Democratic nominee that would beat Trump in polls is Michelle Obama.
I mean, Hillary had a much better chance of beating Trump than Kamala ever would. Only person that can beat Trump is Michelle Obama, in my opinion.
I
Genuinely, strongly feel that.
like you think not for you, but just you're saying nationwide people would
I mean,
go
I
for it.
speak for the masses here. No, I genuinely believe that a campaign that would create enough energy, that would get enough people to vote to beat Trump, is Michelle Obama.
I agree with that. Like
I mean-
just speaking from a third eye view. This is like
Yeah, general, understanding of like where's the country at. Michelle Obama would inspire a radical sort of energy the way that Barack Obama did at the time.
Could. I wouldn't say would.
Could.
But those are those two only options.
But that's
because
not an option for them. That's not an option.
Those are the two only
they
options that they can
cannot
make it work.
overwrite. They cannot dismiss Kamala Harris.
You
They
can't
just
pick a
can't.
white person if your whole, you
You
know,
see
thesis-
Vivek's,
You also can't do
Vivek's
that.
tweet on this?
What do you say?
No.
I don't have it up, but Vivek basically said he's like when the whole party platform is based around this ideology of like supporting these like DEI interests.
It's not merit based.
You can't then turn at the last minute away from that.
No.
Right.
So then the only two options are
You stick with the
Kamala
plan.
and Michelle Obama.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you also need like the thing that helps.
But Michelle's not an option because you can't usurp the one that you place there to whatever. But
Doesn't want to do it.
yeah.
They would usurp. They would usurp if they could.
I thought it was so funny. Like you saw on CNN, and afterwards they were like, the reaction is shocked, angered, confused. And it was like, well, the average American wasn't confused before this. Like the normal citizen would like understood what was going on. Like, what is this? Like, you guys are angered, confused, shocked. Like,
Okay.
what are you
What is
talking
happening?
about? Yeah.
So I will give a little like side narrative here. I was watching this thing live on CNN,
Mhm.
and CNN is known to be like liberal media, right?
Clinton
But,
News
like-
Network.
Clinton News Network. Okay, so when this thing was happening, like even beforehand, they had a panel of like a pretty like equally sided panel. Like I don't know if you guys watched it, but it was like
I watched the whole thing.
They were like-
and I watched the
Yeah, I
after.
saw it.
3 Republicans,
I never watched
3
stuff like
Democrats, and
this.
I was actually shocked to
I
see
was
like
so
a
shocked.
kind of like a reasonable representation of both sides.
Dude, they had Trump advisors, former Trump advisors. They had a former Barack advisor, that guy
Bush
that's always been
advisor.
around, Bush advisor. It was
pretty
pretty interesting.
pretty cool.
Not
that,
to
like,
mention the fact that the actual debate itself
was well handled. I thought
was pretty good.
pretty
They
well
did, They
handled.
did do a good job.
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
it.
they
And
didn't like-
everyone was
Say.
surprised by that.
And I think that was one of the side narratives that I found shocking was like, okay, mainstream media is actually also kowtowing to all the things that we're not we, but like that the populism.
Well,
is
because the
saying.
pendulum swung. It swung a while ago. We brought it up when it swung. We started to feel it. It has swung.
I mean,
Like,
there's
things
just
have
been like sort
changed.
of like a fracture in the party. There's been like a coup of sorts, right? Because like for the past few years, you've just heard like the same message from like the White House and from the news and from the White House and from the news, and now it's like very apparent that there are like warring factions who are just like, we need to keep running Joe, and then like a faction that's like absolutely not.
Yeah, but please, borrow my tinfoil hat for a moment. All of a sudden, we're going to just suddenly start to shit on the president? We've been hiding the fact that he has any issues whatsoever. I mean, you guys saw the clip, right? Can I play one of these? Just like clips, like or something. Like look at this one. Like,
Okay, I'm gonna switch over.
is this a good one? I don't know. Like, there's so many good ones.
No, we've seen all the debate
It's
clips.
bad.
What's the previous? Yeah, this one. Let's try
Here's-
this
Civil
one.
rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
He wants to get get rid of the ability of Medicare to for
Alright.
the ability.
yeah,
There was another one
Yeah,
that
we
was
got
just
it. It's
like
bad.
there was a media one. The one I was looking for, I don't have it queued up, but it was the media one. It was like sharp as a tack. The media has been repeating the phrase "sharp as a tack" incessantly across every single network for the last few years.
I mean, like, well, like, yeah, especially like MSNBC. I don't know. I hope this is like a reality check for people who, like, we don't know anybody personally who's just like, I watch MSNBC all the time. But like in my family, like, we have like the MSNBC and like the Fox people, and they just like are in that world. And like, you know, I talked to some of them, and they're just like, oh my god, like what? And it's just like, oh,
But
like
do
you actually
not
didn't, you
find
actually didn't
it
know.
odd that they went from a perpetual, impenetrable, the president is sharp as a tack, to the president
No, it's not
may
odd,
not
'cause
be
they're,
fit
they're,
for
they're,
office.
They're always like scamming us. Like they're always like peddling some lies. So it's not like a shocker that like when they
So
couldn't.
who's doing this?
Yeah.
I think
Who's doing
there's
this?
multiple factions. I don't think there's like one guy like kind of pulling all the strings. I think there's like, I think like media and business, like there's these party insiders, right? But then I think like
Totally.
also just Biden and his like close people, like they can just stay in if they want to, right? And I'm sure you have this battle right now between like him and them. They're probably like, please leave.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
he's going to take it to his
name a train
to
station
his
after you or something, or you
Not
just
quite to
cement
his
your legacy or
deathbed,
whatever.
but he's
you know?
going to take it to the point where he can't go
Yeah.
anymore.
But they're probably like, look, you can go out like with this great legacy and just like be like you gave up your thing selflessly so that we could save democracy. Like they're definitely going to be pitching that. Like you know that's happening. Like, it's very obvious, like because the messaging is like split, that there are these like competing warring interests like going at it. It's fascinating to watch. I mean, this is like an unprecedented time. Like I don't know. When was I think like Herbert Hoover or something was probably like the last time there was this like kind of mega fracture in like the Democratic Party. And I don't think he was like president at the time.
I mean, it's
either.
a full like Wizard of Oz moment, right?
Right.
Where like people see and Dorothy sees the wizard as this like omnipotent, you know, never failing figure, and then the kind of curtain falls, and it's like, oh, wait.
But not for people that have been paying attention, right?
Right.
Like you're saying for most people, like it's been this moment of just like, oh my God, I didn't realize how bad it was.
Right.
But anyone who's been paying attention, anyone who's been at all, has seen the clips, has seen the moments, and then you get to watch it live. I think they thought that they could push it far along enough that this mishap type of moment wouldn't happen on the international stage. He would get through the debate like he did the State of the Union. The State of the Union was the biggest test, in my opinion. The fact that he was able to deliver something coherent with energy and rigor on the State of the Union address made everyone go like, okay, look, there's been some bad clips and there's been some bad moments and there's been some falls. Let's put those aside. Let's stick to the plan. He's going to make it through. I think they miscalculated. And they got to the point where he showed up to this debate, couldn't do it, was apparently camped out at Camp David for 6 days, preparing, and showed up with this. So I don't know. Or this is a coup, and it was intentional, and they pulled the debate forward months ahead of any other debate that's ever happened. This is an interesting take, right? I'm sure
I like
you guys
this.
have heard
Yeah,
this.
I like this
They
take.
pulled it forward. They're like, let's let him embarrass himself. Let's let him show the world that he's not capable or fit of being president. And let's come in with the coup. It's going to be, Gavin. And right after, we get the media to start the new narrative. New narrative. President is not fit. Even CNN is saying the same thing. Boom, shoo him in. I actually was like, oh, this might be what's happening. Until I saw, whoa, wait a second. The president has a lot more power than I realized, than maybe this narrative has realized. He's saying he's not going away. He's saying, I don't care what you want.
Did you guys
I'm not
see-
stepping down.
I saw one tweet was like, just tell him that he said he would concede and give up, and he'd be like, wait, I did? Like, yeah, you like got up in front of the nation and said that you,
Tell him.
Oh,
That's
you were
what
giving
happened,
up
man.
the presidency.
So the
and he'd be
fact,
like, oh,
I love
okay.
that.
That's pretty gnarly.
yeah.
But the fact that he's like, no, and then they're like putting out articles like, we got to pull the 25th Amendment on him. Can't do that. He's not stepping down. Oh shit, what do? We can't pull in Gavin. I guess we're stuck with Kamala. Oh, we can't do that. She'll lose worse than he would.
Probably.
So it's like, is there a coup at all? Or is this actually just the miscalculation? You know, this was a conversation I was having with BW in the Discord. It's like, is this just pure stupidity? Or is this nefarious action?
Great question.
I don't
know.
I don't understand. Like, it's like the one thing that doesn't make sense to me is why they pulled the debate forward. Like, why would you pull the debate forward?
There's only two reasons. One,
I think
the
that
theory
one-
that he mentioned, or
Yeah.
Biden was like, no, let me get out there.
Losing.
I'll
I'm
boost
losing.
our-
I
But
gotta
it doesn't really
get some
make
votes.
a lot of sense to coup him either, because like unless you have Michelle willing to run, like he still has the best chance of winning.
All of this just sounds like
Right.
fingernails.
Like you should have done this like a year ago, right? Not now.
This all just sounds like fingernails like scraping to stay in power. Like they're getting pulled away and they're just like, whatever we can do
Time
to
goes
claw.
on. If you look at most branches of government, it's usually just stupidity. Like,
Do they not have
it's
peptides
usually-
for this? That's what I'm wondering. Steven Engel's feeling phenomenal.
It's usually just stupidity.
BBC Trump.
Can't peptide your brain.
Inefficient, not well run.
Or maybe you can. I don't know.
You would
Maybe
think
you can.
if they had them, they'd probably use them.
Yeah, it's a mess. Like you could tell, like they're desperate because I can feel the narrative pivoting to like people are getting really into like, for example, like the recent Supreme Court decisions, right? Like
Yeah.
there's like they're sitting there being like, okay, so our policies suck, nobody likes them. Our record sucks, nobody likes it. Our candidate is like literally on the verge of death, nobody likes that. What do? We just spin all this other stuff so that like we can get people just riled up so that they think like literally the country is going to end. Like the Supreme Court has just unleashed this decision and now like we're just going to have a dictator, right? Like that's the playbook now. I mean, that's what I would do. Like if you can't do any of those other things, what do? You just keep running. And this is kind of like a playbook they've been running for years, right? That basically like democracy is in danger, democracy is on the bounce, like the future of the nation, like that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they did. If you buy into that, then they could put up a turd sandwich, and you will vote for the turd sandwich because you believe that like the stakes are that high. But like I think it's kind of a scam.
Except one of their own, I think a Democratic House member released an op-ed that said Trump will win and democracy will be fine.
Yes,
Of course it will.
That is the correct answer.
course it
of course,
will.
that's the correct answer. Everybody needs to
We
shut
already
the fuck
we already
up.
went through it once, and I was screaming at everyone that I knew, saying that Trump is going to kill democracy, and I was completely wrong. He didn't do anything to hurt democracy. Like, and
So
uh,
then
one
you
of their
point to,
own
like,
undermined that whole plan.
It's just wild. And then people just point to January 6th, and he's like, yes, he's a power-hungry, fucking crazy dude, but he didn't try to rip apart our democracy.
Dude,
Like,
I had a moment like this in 2016, I think. Like, I made a Facebook post basically like this. I was like, guys, no matter what happens, everything's going to be fine. And like in 4 years, you'll look back and be like, oh, everything was basically fine. The country didn't end. And like people DM'd me like,
dictator.
do you understand what is going? Do you even understand? Like, I can't even believe you would say like
But
people
you
even
do
back
understand,
then were like,
don't you? You do understand. You do understand that thinking, don't you?
I get the thinking, but at a certain point in time, you have to be like, wait a minute, what happened the last 100 times I thought this?
I know.
Oh,
Exactly.
Like maybe I'm just being like strung along like a little
It's
puppet.
extremely
Maybe everything
irrational.
is not ideal, not exactly the way I want it to be, but that doesn't mean the world is ending.
Let's just be real. People don't like the guy. They don't like the guy. They don't like what he says. They don't like what he
It's
stands
different
for.
though. Like people didn't like Mitt Romney, but like they weren't like. I
No,
mean,
it's
even
more-
back then, people were still kind of
it's
like
more
dramatic
intense.
about it. But like
Well,
it's worse
I'm
now.
gonna throw in something from the chat here I thought was interesting. Calcium Bagel said something I hadn't considered. What if it's Kamala as president and Michelle Obama as VP?
No, that makes no sense at all, Calcium. I'm sorry. Like, you think Michelle's going to come out and just run for VP? No, she's going to be like, if she does it, she's going to go for El Presidente. There could be, like, I feel like if it's
she
Kamala,
didn't hold any office
they'll
before,
probably do
really.
like Kamala Buttigieg, right? Because he polls pretty well, I think, actually, in some of the swing states.
I always
and
liked
the
that guy.
Kind of.
He's done terrible as like the
He's
transportation
freaking worst.
guy.
Ugh.
Well,
I hate all these people.
kind of like
honestly.
that ticket, though. I would prefer a Michelle Obama P, Kamala VP ticket.
All right,
But
what
that's
I'm
not gonna
actually
happen.
caring about now is like, will the Republicans do the full sweep? will they get the House, the Senate, and the White House? Because if they will, deficits
What makes
going
us
to
more
rise.
money?
Huh? Which one makes us more money?
Yeah.
Cynically?
If they full sweep.
Hashtag elitist.
Yeah. if they full sweep, then they won't care about the budget or the deficit. They'll spend
Okay.
either through tax cuts or through programs, or probably both. Deficit will pump, more money will go in the economy, and stonks go up. But if it's like a divided, House or Senate, less likely that the person in the White House gets what they want, and
So isn't that what we were talking about last week, where like a poor performance from Biden will like hurt all the Democratic candidates
Yes,
like
because
throughout?
like, if people
Then they're
hate
freaking out now.
Biden, they don't. The turnout suffers, and if the turnout suffers, like there's like people who just go in and pull like the lever for the side, right? So if the top of the ticket has like anemic turnout, then it has this huge trickle down effect for the House and Senate and all the other down ballot races. Like it's actually a pretty big deal.
those are the people who are speaking out, who are up for a re-election, being like, okay,
like,
well, you just killed my re-election, so I'm gonna
I don't know.
say you need to go.
I feel like I've been losing my radically moderate card lately, but like this isn't even about like number go up. I just feel like in general, like I feel like the whole country and everybody in it will be better off. They were better off under like a different administration, and not so much the people, just like the policies that those people want to put in place. I just think they're genuinely better for prosperity. I don't think the government can make you prosperous. I don't think the government like engineers prosperity. I just don't. And like the idea that somebody's going to come in and just like print money and ship it to you in some particular way, it just doesn't make sense. Like we need like intelligent foreign policy. We need intelligent immigration policy, and we need to just like enable the markets to do its thing and like create wealth, and then we can maybe capture that wealth and distribute it in various ways. But like that has to be the primary focus. Like we can't just go in and just be like, oh, we're just going to take money from rich people and make poor people more prosperous. Just not going to work.
Cool. All right, let's get on to the next topic. Steven, you had put in, was this yours? Yeah, it was. You want to know, what are we watching, reading / doing right now?
Oh.
Have we not hung out recently?
Take a
Or
left
did
turn.
you miss us?
Yeah.
When
like,
you put this in here?
I just like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know anything about you guys anymore.
Yes.
I've been watching some Morgan Housel lately. Watching like some of his interviews.
Podcast?
Yeah.
He's so good. He's I think for me, he's the best financial writer who makes things digestible.
So I never read his first book, the name of the book is like escaping me right now, but was like Psychology of Money or something like that.
That's the title.
It is?
It's a
Okay.
good book.
So I wrote some notes down from one of his
Overrated,
most
in my opinion.
recent
No,
interviews.
it's just like a beginner book.
I know. It's too much hype.
It's a great book.
Too much hype.
What
So-
do you like about it?
Too much hype.
Okay.
I mean, once I heard him speak, I was like,
Do you think it might have been
Not
too much
enough
hype?
novel concepts.
Yeah,
All right,
there was nothing like phenomenal.
You want
about
to
it.
hear some of his concepts?
I know he's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
Please don't mistake my comment as that. It's good foundational work.
Okay.
It's a good way to like put good work out into the world.
So
The
in
way
his,
people hyped it, though, I was like, oh my God, my brain's about to be smattered with insights. It was pretty.
I got a different take, but I want to hear Nick's what he's going to read.
yeah. So his first thing was like, play your game. He said the number one thing that could detract you from acquiring wealth in your life is FOMO. That is the number one thing, the number one trait to accumulate wealth is not having FOMO. He said, be okay seeing your neighbor rich, getting something or getting rich doing something you would never do. So like, for example, I would never day trade or just trade with as much ferocity as Steven will. And I'm very happy every time he gets richer when he does it. And just
you
knowing
don't
like,
experience FOMO.
yeah, I
Or
just
don't.
don't,
The
you know,
advice
like,
is don't experience.
yeah.
it.
And so you have to be okay with watching people, whether that's on Twitter or your friends or your family, getting rich, doing something you would never do.
I like that.
2, his plan is to be average, but over a longer period of time than the average person. So his plan is to own index funds for as long as possible. So he mentions Howard Marks was never in a single year in the top half of his peers, but if you look over a 20-year time horizon, he was in the top 4%. So basically the guy was just average, but he was average for a 20-year time horizon. So his plan is like, whatever the index fund gets me, I'll take the average, but I'll just stay in longer, never sell, and hopefully keep it, whatever the longer time horizon is, the average time horizon. Maybe it's 10 years, I'll hold it for 30. So that's his. He says, investing is paradoxical. In most skill sets and most things in your life, like, for example, working out, the harder you try at something, especially sports, the better you get at it. And he was saying investing is paradoxical in the fact that the harder you try at it, the better you don't get. Like, sometimes you get worse. You at best you stay the same, and the less you do, the better you get. He talks about just like staying happy.
Do you remember why?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
just-
because most people are not going to be like Stevens as traders. So like most
Like
people are
too much
buying
activity?
Yeah, buy and hold, and you just like
Okay.
buy and hold the index
also
that returns 10%.
don't
I
have,
think
like-
I just took try as like learning, but that's not what this is saying.
no, it's like
It's like
trading.
try as like trading.
But also, Steven had like
Taking
a
action.
career before that, as a professional poker player that like mentally prepared him for what trading is like, and like not being on tilt, even though we've seen you at times, tilt, which is fun. But like the average person hasn't gone through that kind of like training to be prepared to trade professionally. Talks about staying happy over a long lifetime. He just says, just keep your expectations below your wealth accumulation. So if you accumulate, 20% in a year, don't raise your expectations for life 20%. The biggest lie that money gives you is if I had X more amount of dollars, I would be happy. Happiness is obviously independence and spending time with the people you love. For most people, he talks about Will Smith. When he talked to him, he was like, I thought if I had, $100 million, $200 million, I would be happy. Now I have that money. I'm not happy, and I don't even have the hope of being happy with more money. Like, it's just, I have the money.
Full
and-
depression.
It's because you married a terrible woman.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't do that.
oh, jeez.
He talked about the last point I'll make is that he just talked about rich versus wealthy. Someone asked him like, what's the difference? And he just made an important point about wealth. Like, when someone's rich, you can tell because of the things they own potentially. Like, you can tell by how much someone spends, at least, like the car, the house, the clothes, maybe. But wealth is something you can't tell. Like, you can't tell like what kind of assets they have. Like, net worth is a hard thing to like even amongst us like to imagine.
There's no like external factors that like give you that feedback that say like, oh, you're so wealthy. It's like, because when people who are like quote unquote rich, they'll buy like the brand new car, the brand new whatever. You get these like feedback mechanisms to be like, oh, you must be so rich. The wealth is invisible.
Invisible, exactly. So I took from that like, be careful who you benchmark against, or like just even associate with. Like,
I mean, aren't there kind of? It's an interesting conversation in itself that we could have, but isn't rich just liquidity, and wealth is like a combination of liquidity, but like illiquid assets that are worth a lot more than what the rich person is worth?
I think it's more
And
about.
wouldn't you kind of want both?
I think it's more about where.
I think I want to be rich and wealthy.
I think you want to be wealthy because, like, to me, the
Aren't you
definition.
I don't
Aren't
want
you
wealth
just rich
that
if
is.
you're
I don't.
wealthy?
I don't want. Well,
If you're rich, you're not wealthy.
I
But if
don't
you're wealthy,
think-
you're definitely rich.
no.
Yes,
I don't
agree
think you
with
are.
that.
No, I don't think if you're wealthy, you're rich.
I
I
thought
think that
rich
people-
was like a lower level of wealthy.
I think people assume it's a stepping stone, but what I'm asking is like,
Isn't there
Is
like
it
a Shaq
actually-
quote about this?
is it actually that like you could be extremely wealthy but extremely
cash
illiquid
poor?
and
Yeah.
cash poor? Like, for example, say you were Elon Musk and you had no access to liquidity. You had all of your wealth tied up in the stock and the ownership of your companies, and you didn't get a $50 billion payday, and your lawsuit didn't go through, and you actually live on like $200,000 a year, but you're worth like billions of
All right,
dollars.
I actually- I
versus
get his
the
point.
lifestyle entrepreneur who's worth $150 million, but actually just like fucking nets like $50 million a year and lives like a king. Who do you want to be?
Have you guys ever seen the series The Gentleman or the movie The Gentleman?
I love it.
So
I love both.
He talks about these example of people who are wealthy but not rich because they inherit these like massive estates which require keep up and they have no
And they
cash.
cost money.
They have no cash flow. So that's an example of someone who's wealthy but not rich. Eric, what did you think when Armand said that?
Well, a couple things. I think it's a semantic argument, right? Like, what are we sort of like defining as rich versus wealthy or whatever? I don't think we need to get into like a fight over that. I kind of align with that like earlier definition, like Nick's earlier definition, which is like the wealth tends to be invisible because people who are wealthy don't have to flaunt it to get that like external feedback mechanism to be like, oh, you must be so wealthy. Like my folks live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and like the wealthiest people there drive like an old pickup truck that you would never know that they like founded this like oil and gas business and they're worth $1 billion. They're just still at the grocery store in the Wranglers the same way everybody else is. And I feel like that to me, that's like my definition of wealth versus rich.
Can I give a definition? Because I don't think it's semantics. I think when you're rich, you're still like actively like the money comes from your activities.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right, and your activities are producing so much cash you can buy whatever you
Wealth
want. But
is
when
more passive.
When you're wealthy, it's like, nah, I just spend the money that's in the piggy bank or the cash that the
I'm
assets
producing.
produce off, right? Like,
Passively. Yeah.
so that's the difference for me, and it's
Yeah, I see that. I do think it's like we have to define it, then it becomes semantic, blah, blah, blah. I like that definition, Eric. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's like wealthy people tend to be a little bit more maybe conservative.
The
or
older
just
the
maybe-
older versions of
Yeah.
wealth.
Yeah,
Like,
just like more conservative and the rich flaunt it.
is that
But-
maturity where they're just like
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to speak to that. I will go back to the Morgan Housel thing.
Mhm.
Like all the quotes that Nick brought up, what I found fascinating by what you just read off, because I read this book a long time ago and I recommended it to Armand. So I like this book a lot. What you just showed me, like from the quotes you pulled, is like this is not a finance book at all. And that's what makes it great. It's a psychology book. It's like it's about how you as a human being mentally perceive all this stuff about money, but none of it is about money. And I love that about this book because I've read a ton of books about money and investing and making money or whatever. This had nothing to do with that. And Morgan Housel, like as much as I admire this guy, he's a dog shit investor. He literally just indexes. I would never like give Morgan Housel my money to invest.
I was going to ask you guys that.
No, he's a terrible investor.
he said his portfolio is 15 to 20% cash, the rest in index funds, and then the house he lives in. That's literally his net worth formula, and that's it. And his index funds are not even that great, but
I don't know. Maybe I've had too much like Steven exposure, but like that just doesn't work anymore for me. Like it just feels like too risky.
he's saying
It's so conservative that it's risky.
but he's saying it's average, and that's okay because he's going to be average longer.
Before we close this, I'm curious
Yeah.
your thoughts on it.
On what specifically?
I don't know about
Being
specific-
rich?
No,
being
no, no,
wealthy?
no.
What about his strategy?
Morgan Housel's
Strategy?
Yeah.
It's like fine. It's like
Well-
that should be the stock strategy for like literally everybody. Like the biggest way to just get somewhat wealthy and not fuck it up is to just like do your job, make money, buy a house, and then just put whatever you have into index funds.
Yeah.
That's actually the correct
So
strategy.
we talked about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
Just
It's
like,
like
on the,
not very exciting.
didn't we call it like
It's the
dentist
dentist.
versus private jet? Like
It's the
the
dentist.
dentist version of wealth is you just play that game, and it's like it like doesn't miss.
It doesn't miss.
It's a good strat. It's just not. It's not an attractive strat for a financial podcast because you just do one episode and then end the show. It's just like cool.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's the answer.
Yeah, it's not going to get you phenomenally wealthy, right? But it'll
Get you wealthy.
do fine.
It'll get you wealthy, not phenomenally wealthy.
You know.
All right, let's get to before we go. You ready to go one deeper, Armand?
Settle in.
Well,
I have to confirm with Armand before we.
either we talk about your inflation topic
Nah.
or we go on deeper.
I think we touched on that.
We touched on it.
So before
we?
we go one deeper, let's give a shout out to
Deeper
Magic
into the
Spoon.
cereal box.
Yeah, I know, right? So go to magicspoon.com/alfalfa. Check it out. Try it out. We like to eat it straight out of the box. I have the frosted here. Steven's going back in for what flavor?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter flavor. So can you give me some ice, please? Thank you. 0 grams of total sugar, 4 net carbs, 13 grams of protein. The variety pack has frosted. I think it has fruity. And let me pull up the rest of it here. We got
Blueberry muffin, baby.
peanut butter and
You always
cocoa.
forget. You always forget blueberry.
No,
muffin.
blueberry muffin's an outsider of the variety
Oh,
box.
it's a
Oh, it's not in
seasonal.
there?
It might be
Sorry.
seasonal.
Is this seasonal?
But is that your favorite?
Yes.
Okay.
I do love the blueberry muffin.
So if you use the code alfalfa at checkout, you get $5 off the variety box. So yeah, check it out. If you or the kids don't like it,
Send
they
it
give you money back.
Tell them we don't want it anymore. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for your sponsorship.
Here, put
But
these on.
my audience member, thank you, Eric. My
Eric too.
audience member is not satisfied. That's it.
Just keep these here as a prop now.
Just
Take it and go.
don't like it. So your website says 30-day guarantee. Take it back. I don't want it. Okay, you have the glasses.
All
back.
right, best sponsor read of all time. Thank you.
Oh my god,
Steven, you don't
Get those
deserve
away
you don't
from me.
deserve these. I'm being honest.
You're never getting them back.
No, to be honest, they were made for me. Like those.
I can
those
never
were
wear
ac-
these again.
Those were actually
I can
made
never
for
wear
me.
these again. I
Yeah.
feel shame even owning them.
Don't go to the Persian
I can
sunglass
tell you had a
store
brother
then.
because you had to like grab your item and like put it on you so that
I'll never see it again. Yeah.
Steven, you're
What is your identity,
Steven, you're a meta glasses guy. I feel like that's your identity. You're a meta glasses guy.
Yeah, you need it. You need the Oakleys. I'll take those. You keep the Oakleys.
I had a guy stop me in the elevator yesterday for the first time. He was like, "Oh my god, are those meta glasses?" Just immediately.
Wait, what is a meta
immediately
glass?
The Ray-Bans that
Oh, yeah,
Facebook's
called
technology's in.
Yeah,
it.
that's what I meant. Those ones, the smart glasses.
Yeah, and Steven looks phenomenal in those. He looks like Clark Kent in those. It's your identity.
Sure, that's what I'm going for.
so
What, you don't like to look like Superman?
No, I like to look like Superman, not Superman's alter ego.
Yeah, how dare you
Yeah.
call him Clark Kent?
Clark Kent is a fucking nerd.
Dude, what a dweeb. That's so
First of
disrespectful.
all,
That's so disrespectful.
first of all,
all right.
sorry to call you a nerd.
Yeah.
Clark
Jesus
Kent is the male
Christ,
version of
man.
like you know those '90s movies where they had this.
I can't talk to girls. You know, how dare you do that to
Guys, just
him?
interrupting my train of
How
thought here.
dare you?
That's not necessarily what I said about him. I just said he
That's
looked like
what he feels
he
right
looked
now.
like Clark Kent.
That's
which
what
is
he feels.
First of all, that's a compliment. Clark
what he-
Kent.
That's what he feels.
If we're going back into the lore, Clark Kent looked exactly like Superman.
Clark Kent
Just without the
can't do
cape.
shit. Can't do shit until he fucking pulls off the suit, wears the cape, and then he gets shit done. That's Steven. Steven wears a cape.
Okay, Steven, I'm going to ask you right now to put on those glasses. We need to see what those look like on
Yeah,
you.
let's look like. Let's test this out.
slightly more Persian.
Pretty.
Do I look Persian?
Yeah, 10% more Persian.
If I'm being-
Pretty good. A
Yeah,
little
they-
more
Who,
Italiano.
who wore it better?
If
They
you-
do look good. They do look good, but I will say that I think the meta glasses are more your speed.
What about
I
him
mean,
with
you
the
might be
tan
right.
and a white Beamer? 20%, 30% more Persian?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, how Persian
Just
can we
needs
get
a
this
white
guy?
Beamer.
Okay.
I feel like
Remember,
I'd be such a bad Persian.
you're doing fine. You're
I
doing
buy a
great.
car. I'm like, what's the price? Okay, here you go. Credit card.
No haggle.
Come on, no haggle.
I don't like confrontation, you know.
It's okay.
All right, guys, I have a question I've been pondering.
Yeah, I like this.
It's been happening over the last week. Actually, from our live podcast discussions, we've had the term identity show up a few times in the last couple weeks, and I've been thinking more about identity as this anchor that your behaviors are anchored to your identity, meaning like you will do whatever it takes to maintain your identity. Is something that we talked about in previous podcasts, and you know, that is a very powerful actor in determining what your behaviors are, what your habits are. So I started to ask the question, well, like, what is my identity? And I started to get confused because I'd imagine that like maybe at least 30%, maybe 50% of my identity is subconscious, right? So like I was trying to investigate what is the process that I can go through to figure out what is my identity? What is the thing, you know, that I will not go away from? And also, can I change my identity? Can I maybe like reorient it in a way that like serves me a little better? You know, sometimes during some of these Tony Robbins events, we've gone through processes to try to identify who you are and where your behaviors lie. and that's been interesting. So I don't know. I was trying to figure out what questions could I ask myself.
There's too many prompts, right? There's like too many ways to like take this conversation.
Yeah, but I just want to know, like, how do I take an inventory of what my identity is? Because I could tell you what I think it is, but there's probably some limiting beliefs that are like underlying the identity.
Your sort of origin question to this is, what is it?
Nick,
and how do I identify
who are
it?
you?
Right.
Who are you?
Because that is the thing that
Are you asking that from a perspective of for your own self-knowledge, or for the ability to be able to show the world and have a clear identity?
No, I don't.
that
I
you
don't. I don't care
understand?
about
You don't
what
care
the
about
world
that.
thinks or
So
anything.
this is like a self-knowledge
Because
question.
if we assume, if we're under the assumption that the identity is the thing that you will protect the most and that you will defend. So if your identity is like, I'm fit, there's always like this like line that you will not cross. You will always like, maybe you'll hit the upper bounds, but you'll self-correct.
Yeah.
That's an example of like your identity anchoring you. And so I want to know, like, what's my identity? What am I anchoring to? And are there things that I don't even know are my part of this subconscious identity? And maybe some of them are self-limiting, right? Like,
Wait, could I play a game with you?
yeah, please.
Okay. I want you to describe who you are in one word.
Oh, fuck.
oh my
In one word?
First thing that comes to mind.
Weird.
Uh,
No, weird question. Not weird. Nick is weird.
I took it the same. I know you mean that's a tough question.
I
Yeah.
would like
question.
to, so I would like to think the word adventurous is what comes to mind, but not
Okay.
in like physical terms.
That's,
like
that's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Podcast over, I guess.
Okay, done.
No, that like Steven, what did you think? Like, why did you think that exercise was so valuable?
I was just trying to narrow in on like what he's trying to do, but like do it.
Well, first of
There
all,
you
do
go.
you
It's
understand
sort of
what I'm
like-
trying to accomplish here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that this thing is an anchor, and I think
It's
we
a
should all
noble
know
aim.
what
but
the
I
inventory
first want to
is.
know like what you're anchoring to, and then kind of like
See,
why.
that's the question I don't know. I mean, I had a whole conversation with the machine about it, and
Those are my favorite conversations.
the machine was a little
The
confused at
machine
first.
knows so much more about me than anyone else at this point already.
Yeah,
I'm
just-
like in my own Her movie
No, I know you.
at this point.
So you open ChatGPT and you're just
Think.
like, who am I?
Well, I just said like, what questions or process can I go through that would like tell me what I perceive as my identity, assuming that this identity is like a powerful behavior structuring
I
concept.
just think it's like very funny that you don't know your identity. You're going through this like huge, drawn out analytical process. Be like, what is my identity?
Can I even ask? Can I even like start before this? Like,
Yeah.
what even makes up an identity? Because like, and for me, just so you guys know, this is the thing that I spend more time thinking about than anything else on life on
Let's
Earth.
go.
and the reason why is because I think that this thing, this like idea about who you are, has a greater impact than anything else on Earth that you could spend your time on.
I like this.
So when you prompted this, I was so excited because like what I'm trying to get to is like, before you even answer, I'm adventurous. Like, what even makes up the components that tells you you're adventurous?
All right, so here's the trick about it is that it's not a stat sheet, right? Like if you look at a player, you see their age, their height, their weight, their stats by year. That's not what makes up an identity in my mind. It's a story. And a story can like take it's not like a stat sheet. It's literally a story that you probably tell yourself without not even knowing. I'm
The
this
the
person who
story is
overcame
made
this
up
struggle, who like does this now. I'm a son, I'm a father, I'm a
But
husband.
that story is not just a set of facts. It's made up by a set of beliefs.
yeah.
So when you say to me like, "Who am I?" the immediate thing that came to my mind is just like, "What are the set of beliefs?"
But I mean, I
At
could,
all,
I could
like,
probably
that create the
explicitly tell you
foundation of
30% of them, but I'd imagine that like
You're concerned, or you're wondering how many subconscious beliefs you have that are driving and creating your identity. That's
Yes.
a very interesting question. That's a very
This
important
discussion
question.
But
is so meta.
But are you more interested in determining what percent are subconscious versus conscious, or are you more interested in determining like what your identity is?
I want to know what those subconscious ones are, just so I can like take an inventory and be like, well, are these serving me? Are these good beliefs? Is this a good story about who I am, and then maybe try to figure out how to change it from there.
Can I ask another question about the subconscious beliefs?
Yeah.
Like, where do you like? What do you even mean by that?
Okay, so let me give an example that's not mine, but like several people I know have gone through this, right? So let's say early on in your childhood, you were bullied, right? And you just had this happen to you, and then it went away. You moved away, but through that period, you've come up with this thing. It's like me against everyone else. Like I have to either prove them, and I have to like confront everything that could potentially be against me with strength and power and anger, because like this is, I am someone who's been bullied, could be part of your identity, and that could be empowering or disempowering, right? Like some people could find it empowering, but most times it cannot be. And you may not know that. You go through your whole life not knowing that's part of your identity story. And so that's an example to me of one that's
Well, do you think that
subconscious.
like that probably began in the subconscious, but then do you think that person becomes conscious of that? And because like I don't think that this conscious subconscious thing matters that much. It's
It
like
does.
it's your identity or not.
It does.
No,
In fact, I would say that if you guys recall my greatest quote of all time, it was, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. It is that important to me for a person to understand the aspects of themselves that they have not shined enough of a light on to understand why they became who they are, until the moment that they understand that unconscious aspect of themselves, they will show up, perform certain actions, react to people in a certain way, do certain things, go and become depressed because something happened that is reminiscent of this thing that happened in childhood, without realizing any of it in what's going on, and go into these crazy complexes. And it's all stemming from things that they have yet to shine a light on, that unconscious part of themselves. Until they make that aspect of themselves conscious, it will truly rule your life, sabotage your relationships, sabotage your mental health, sabotage your identity, sabotage your ability to attain the things you want in life. That is the thing that holds people back from achieving the things that they want.
Okay,
it's really that.
That was very helpful. I love that, and I agree. So back to Nick's question is like, how much of that within us four do you think is subconscious versus conscious? Because I feel like we're pretty
That's hard to
conscious
tell.
guys. Like I feel like we're pretty like self-aware guys. So like
we
we've
attempting to be, right?
we've moved a lot of our subconscious into consciousness. I would assume larger than the mean is what I would presume.
So is it like an iceberg situation where 10% of it is known and like 90% of it is unknown?
Yeah, I mean, like if you put, I don't know, you put Jesus at the top of the most like conscious person who conquered all of his, human subconscious, traumas and traits, and then you have a spectrum that exists all the way down to the person that's existing in hell and is just completely just destroyed and living in hell and everything that, and they're on the brink of suicide. Like that's the spectrum. And so where are we at? On a lifelong journey of making the unconscious conscious. I think that no one will ever make everything conscious, but I think the question is really, really interesting and really, really powerful. Like back to your original, question, Nick, I think it's a really interesting and important question, because that identity ultimately makes up like all of your behaviors, all of your actions, how you interact with people and your friends, how you interact with your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Like everything is encompassed by that like set of beliefs of who you are. And you asked the question early on, how fixed is it? I think it's super malleable. It's so much more malleable than so many other things in life. It's one of the only things we control.
Yeah.
I could wake up tomorrow and decide I'm a different person. I could.
Can you?
I don't, but I could.
Ooh, I don't know if you can.
Can you?
I don't know if you
Can
can.
you
I think
just
it's like
decide to be
it's
a
a
different
practice, right? It's not necessarily something you just do and absolutely change. It's a practice that you try to
Think
work
about it.
on and
Tell
over
me.
time.
Yeah. Can you? I don't know. I think you can change who you are externally facing very rapidly. I think that there might be certain truths that you hold inside, like that you are near and dear to your heart and your identity, but you don't necessarily show as part of your identity. But I think your identity from an external a sort of like perspective can change rapidly.
Man, they're like, I love this conversation. So I would like to do a podcast based on only this. I love this so much. Like using your previous example of a guy who's bullied, like, and having that be some fulcrum of their identity. Like, I feel that he is using external factors to determine how he views himself, right? So like how the world perceives him is how he perceives himself.
Right.
So to Armand's point that like it's malleable, like I think how you can change one thing, how you like present yourself to the world, and the feedback you get really is the determinant of like what your identity becomes.
That hardens the concrete, right? Like once you get the feedback from the external world, it like cements it. So like if you want to become, if you're just like an average athletic person, but you start doing things that an athletic person would do, eating better, working out, getting fitter, getting stronger, maybe looking better, and then all of a sudden you get this feedback like, wow, man, you're looking like lean, or like you look strong. Maybe that's the point at which it cements it, and you get that feedback, and it's like, wow, this is like locked in now as part of my identity. So
But
I think there's this, like
you
feedback
skipped over a stage that I think is important, which is the words. So it's the thought, the words, the deeds. The deeds is the action. You do the thing, you receive the reinforcement from other people that reaffirms who you are. People underestimate the power of their own words, the things that they put out into the word. Eric, you're such a good example of this. You'll be like, you know what? I'm working out every day. I'm an everyday guy. Hey guys, what's up? It's been a week. It's been 3 weeks. I'm an everyday guy. I haven't seen you in 3 weeks. I'm an everyday guy. I know what you're doing.
Getting a dot on the calendar every day.
Dot on the calendar. I saw him on Zoom yesterday in our meeting. First thing he said, dot on the calendar every day. That reinforcement of who he is and what he stands for and how he shows up in the world is creating his identity. What do you think about that?
And I agree, and I think it like the cement gets harder and harder as like time progresses, and then like tomorrow, if we like go hang out at the park and we're playing soccer, you and I have my shirt off, someone's gonna be like, "Hey, man, you're looking fitter than you used to be," and that cements it even further. They're like,
Sure.
"Oh, I'm an everyday guy." So it's like it's all about. I think you said it right. You start with thought. Thought goes to words. Words goes to actions. Action goes to
Reinforcement.
feedback. Yeah, the reinforcement.
And then like just to really focus in on like the power of this is like imagine the identity as this cement block, and your behaviors are this like balloon that's tethered to it. So imagine a balloon with like 30 feet of length, and it sways, but it never gets too far away from the block, right? Your behaviors go back and forth with the wind, but it won't escape that block. So like once you get that feedback, you're like, oh shit. Now people actually think, not only did I think I was like athletic and fitter, but now other people think it. So I have to stay with this identity because that is as part of me. It's how I exist in this world. And now your behaviors are even more momentous towards your
So,
favor.
Nick, we've had a discussion about this before, the pros and cons of proclaiming a goal,
I like this topic a lot.
right? So there are so many pros to proclaiming a goal, but there are so many cons as well.
Yeah.
Because the dopamine that you receive as a result of sharing your goal makes you feel as if you've already taken steps toward achieving that goal.
Yes.
You immediately are fueled by that, and then you don't have the sense or the need that you need to fulfill any action after that. You just basically fugazi a bunch of people. At the same time, though, on the other side of that, if you're looking for accountability and you proclaim to people that like you've made a decision to change your life in some way, hey man, I stopped smoking. I'm done. What do you mean? When did you decide? Today. I stopped smoking today. I'm not a smoker anymore. That's extremely, extremely powerful.
Like I think
You don't have to wait 100 days to tell people that. The moment you tell people that, you're upholding me to that standard of that identity that I am no longer a smoker.
We're also not asking you, do you want a cigarette? Because, well, you're not a smoker
Yeah,
anymore.
it does help that enablement as well. But I think there are instances where that is really important, and other instances where it can totally work against you.
Yeah. Can I use some examples here?
Yeah.
Because this topic is so near and dear to me. I have two examples. Same guy.
Okay.
My little cousin, he doesn't listen to this podcast. Love this guy.
Fuck him.
He's younger. No, he's young. He always looked up to me. Okay, so
Fuck him anyway.
yeah, okay. Nice kid. Okay, so
Nice kid. Fuck him.
Jesus.
so this nice kid, he's like a decade younger than me. He's an only child. I'm an only child. He kind of like looked up to me as an older brother. At one point, he two stories. One where the identity worked for him and one against. Okay. Where it worked against him is kind of like Armand's example, where he's like, Eric, I'm an athlete. I'm a tennis player now. I'll beat you. I'll beat Dave. I'm an athlete. And this kid was like a gamer, a band guy. Like, this kid's not an athlete. And like when this kid just says with his mouth, like, this is who I am, I will beat you. I'm like, I know your identity now. You're full of shit is what your identity is. It's like working against you. Like, you know, so
Sure.
like you can't just be like saying things.
No, you got to have some self-awareness and some hubris.
Okay. So that's like why I think like words have to lead to actions. Otherwise, it's just doesn't work on identity. It works against you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's another one. I'm proud of myself. Like, I'm rarely proud of myself, but on this one, I most times I actually don't give a shit about what I'm doing. But on this one, I was like, good job, me. Okay, so little guy got arrested. Okay,
Oh.
he was shoplifting. He was shoplifting from CVS. He was pulling a vodka bottle from the shelves, and he got arrested, or he got caught, and then the police came.
Popov, 1899.
I mean, the kid was probably like 14 years old, 15, whatever. Like,
Nice.
Johansson trait, you know, we start him young. But he got caught, and you know, he was like afterwards confiding in me. Like we only hang out on holidays, so it was like a Thanksgiving after. He's like, "Hey, I got a story to tell you. This is what happened." I was like, "Well, man, that's not good. Like, you don't want to be doing that." But I want to ask you a question, dude. I said, yesterday, for the first time ever in my life, I went spearfishing. Am I a spear fisherman? Or am I just a guy who went fishing one time? And I said, don't let being a thief become part of your identity. You're a guy who did something one time. That's it.
Ooh, that's good.
I like that.
That's good.
Because they often talk about how I forget what the term is called, but like when people who go into jail and then get released and then they end up back in jail. I forget that term. But
Recidivism.
Recidivism? Yeah.
Recidivism.
And I think a lot of the issues, like, it becomes part of your identity that I am like a rule breaker. I hate authority.
It's that quick.
And it becomes part of
It
it.
just starts
And,
happening.
I'll tell another story, or not necessarily a story, but maybe an example where a friend got very rich, and
Is it you?
no, but he
Latest.
and everyone was like, he's rich, and he was clearly rich, like he had all the things that a rich person would have, and unfortunately, that was his sole identity, was that I'm rich, I'm the rich guy, and I kind of like do what I want, I buy what I want, I do, you know, and he kind of lived that life, and that's cool, but you know, swings happen in net worth. Things happen, and you know, at some point he found himself multiple times in his life. He found himself not rich, and when you solely identify with one thing, and that thing just changes throughout life, it can be existential. It's no longer this like one thing in your life that is like down. It is like almost like I want to commit suicide because I am no longer the thing that people identify me as. Like, everyone views me as this, and I am no longer that thing. This is the only thing I identify with. And so while I don't know how much is subconscious, I don't even know the process to go through to figure out what are all those subconscious things. The one thing I do know about identity is it should be multifaceted. Like, okay, if you are a business owner and you're successful, cool. 1 of 7. things of your identity. You're also a son. You're also a brother. You're also like a husband. You're a best friend. You're a business partner. You know, like you're an athlete. Like you have to view your identity as this like multifaceted thing because life goes in its ups and downs. You know, like people pass away. Your net worth changes. Like what you actually do every day changes. You have these different chapters we just talked about in your life that like, you know, page forward and life will change. And if you have this one thing as your identity, it will feel like as your whole entire life is crashing down. And so I don't know. That's the one thing as of today, that's the only part of this identity conversation that I feel like I actually know.
You have a good handle on that. You're a multifaceted individual.
You should try to be, right? Like you should broaden your scope of who you are. Like Steven is not just a great pickleball player. He's not just a great trader. He's also a good friend. He's a good boyfriend. Like that
Peptide
kind
user.
Yeah. So he's a Viore customer. Like, you know, like whatever it is. Like,
Clark Kent.
You should kind of like be wider, broader in your identity because things are going to change.
Or just like identify with stuff that is like more permanent.
So what would that be though? 'Cause-
So some of the worst things to identify as are like wealthy, as like pretty. Like I think if you attach yourself to these things that are either definitely temporal or like possibly, you know, like that's just like a recipe for disaster. But yeah, like if you identify as someone who is kind, that's you don't have to diversify. Like you can just be a kind person. Like nobody can ever take that from you. Like
I mean,
you
they
could just
figured
always
out
be
a lot of these things thousands of years ago, and they called them virtues. Like if you identify with virtues versus fleeting temporal things,
It's so good.
I mean,
That's
it's
so good,
completely
man.
different. Like having a virtue of honesty, having a virtue of patience. I'm a patient person. I'm a patient, respectful, kind, family-oriented person is very different than I'm a rich, athletic, young, handsome
young.
person. All of that is likely
setting yourself up
to
for
guaranteed to
Yeah.
be lost.
Oh man, I remember when I was like, I don't know what age. I was under 20. I was 20, and we were speaking at an event with my buddy Johnny, and someone asked, "So introduce yourself." And I said my age, and we did the rest of the thing. And I remember immediately after the thing, he was like, "Don't ever do that again." And I was like, "What part of the presentation did you not like?" He's like, "Don't say your age, like it
Don't
comes
say
off
your what?
age."
Don't say your age.
Yeah, he's like, first of all, it comes off as douchey, and two, like you're not that, like so just like focus on what you're here to do. And I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I agree. Like maybe
You got to anchor yourself towards more permanent things.
do you guys believe in brute forcing your identity? And I'm particularly thinking about affirmations, like writing it down and then like actually saying it out loud. Like it's actually on my desk. I used to have like a script that I would like read in my head or like out loud. Usually this used to be when I lived alone. That would be easier. But like,
Bro, I used to wake up every day and my alarm was a recording of myself telling myself who I am.
ooh, I like that.
wow.
Years of that.
That's
years.
that is the most Armand thing you've ever said in the history of
I
Armand.
can
Hold on,
almost
was it-
memorize
And I love it.
my affirmation.
I
was
love it so
long,
much.
but, like,
Yeah, a series of affirmations of who I am and what I am doing and what I am creating in the world.
Can I ask you
on
about
repeat.
that? Was it who you currently are, or who your vision of yourself is?
It's both, right?
Both.
Because it's kind of your aspects of it now. You better be to be that in the future. But so much of it was aspirational, and guess what? I became that.
And it's funny
Like,
because
in
it
so
doesn't,
many ways.
it doesn't come on the deadline you set.
No,
Like,
it never
comes-
does.
it never
Because
comes
what
on
you
the
think
time
you can
set.
achieve in 1 year is always wrong. You always overestimate what you can achieve in a year, and you always almost certainly underestimate what you can achieve in a decade.
But I don't know.
Guaranteed.
I
So
totally agree.
It sounds like maybe you two haven't gone down this path, but do you? What do you?
You don't do this weird stuff?
Well, no, I don't.
What do you think about it?
But,
Could you brute force your identity? Like if you just said it
so-
over and over again?
Yeah, like I think there's like there's like an intersection between me and some of the woo-woo people in this regard, like the affirmations people, the secret
Oh,
people.
I've never been in the woo-woo camp because I think to you we're woo-woo, but
But
like
I-
we have other people who
I
are
think
more
there's like
woo-woo.
a non-woo explanation for this. Like I think the whole universe is built on like laws of like physics and energy. Like one of the main laws of physics is, you know, for every action there's sort of like an equal and opposite reaction. Like when you push on something, you get a pushback. Like so I do think like if you put stuff out there, either mentally or energetically or physically or whatever, like you do get some sort of like pushback.
That's what he's describing.
Yeah, like I think it's totally rational.
That's what he's
I
describing.
and I don't think it's.
I don't think
woo
there's anything woo about it at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think you totally can brute force your identity. Like
It goes right
absolutely
back
can.
to like you put it out, you think it, you talk about it, you do it, you put it out. People comment on your abs and your
But
lean
you have
and your
to follow
4.7.
up. You have to follow up. You can't
You
just
do.
like you can't just write it down and then it happens. You have
Right.
to follow up. You gotta,
That's why I think it's better to like do the affirmations in private rather than like verbally do it. At least until you have some kind of momentum, right? Like you already have.
If you're in private though, like I think there is something to actually just really putting it out there in the world, like literally, like verbally to
Becoming
other
it.
people.
getting leverage on yourself is what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think like when you tell, I think people in the world too are largely looking to react to things and to be guided and stuff. Like if you go out in the world and be like, I am this person, like you will just be that person to them. Like most people are like, okay,
I agree.
yeah, you're that
Nah,
person.
see, like
okay,
I think
cool.
your subconscious is smarter than that, right? So let's say you are someone who's never ran before, and you're like, I am a marathon runner. I am going to run a marathon, and people be like, oh, that's nice, like that's great, good job. Your subconscious realizes that they just repeated back to you, they just mirrored to you. They're like, you know, like I kind of pick up that you're not there yet. You know, like, and it's not good.
But like another example of this is like confidence, right? Like if you truly go out into the world and like I am a confident person, like if you actually kind of sell that, even if you aren't confident, you get a reaction from people that will be this like feedback loop because they'll sort of treat you as confident and then you will become more confident based on that, and then you create this like
No question.
push and pull thing. Like
Christopher Columbus was a piece of shit with no experience.
Here we go again.
And he wasn't even a sailor. He wasn't even a sailor, guys. Like how many
I'm
anecdotes
also
do
waiting
we
for
need?
he's
Hold
been
on.
waiting for 12 months to do this again.
No. Wait, do I have a thing with Christopher Columbus? What do you mean?
I did not know you did.
I didn't know I did.
we did a bit on it.
We did a bit on it.
We did do a bit on it.
Christopher Columbus went.
That was a long time.
But
Across
I
the
feel like,
Atlantic
I feel like
Ocean?
you came home and you were like, I was too pro Christopher Columbus. Like next time, I gotta
Well,
select
because
this
that
fucking
was a
guy.
really hot take. It was a really hot take.
So you're telling me this guy has no idea how to sail? He went across the Atlantic
No!
Ocean,
He was an amateur sailor at best. He
across
was
the Atlantic in a
sail-
wooden ship.
He just got
He
lucky,
had
bro.
great people.
Just
he had
got lucky,
great
bro.
experts with him. He recruited incredible people to support his journey. He had money from the Queen. He was not met with like a yes immediately.
He's an entrepreneur. I get it.
He was an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur. He was the Elon Musk of his day.
Hired a pilot.
Well,
Elon knows
actually,
physics.
Elon knows a lot. But my point is, like, he was not the best in his field. He was not the preeminent sailor of his day. Elon's a bad example. Put that aside. He was a person who showed up and said to the world, I value myself to this degree. Meet me there. He asked for more than he, quote unquote, deserved. I'm arguing in favor of your
You're
statement.
saying Columbus manifested. He
He
manifested
didn't.
his
He brute
manifest
forced
destiny.
to Nick's point, and then he played the laws of physics to your point. Like both things are true. It's not woo woo. It's like I ask and I will likely receive. And if I continue to say, "Hey, this is my bar. I need $100 million to go find lands that are undiscovered, and this is the way I think the world looks outside of this continent, and I'm going to go discover these places, and I need these funds, and I need these people." Like you're going to eventually like, and you have charm, and you have character, and you have the ability to not manipulate, but to convince and to convey a message and a dream and a vision, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get support eventually.
I think that's absolutely true. Actually, now that I think, like, okay, I think the world.
I'm telling you, it is. That's
This
that's literally his story.
Steven's
That's
point.
the story of
Steven's
Christopher
point is
Columbus.
like the world is ready to just like accept your story. Like all of us, largely just don't care. Mostly, like we don't care. So like whatever story
We're
you
too
got,
busy.
like whatever story you got that you want to tell me, like with enough edifice behind it, fine, I accept. And I think like it's kind of like what this podcast is. It's like where we're like talking about things. We're saying that we're like, oh yeah, so we have done these trades or we've like done these like business ventures or whatever, and people like through their own, analysis of what we're doing there, it's like, oh yeah, they've probably done it. Yeah, whatever. Like, isn't that what we're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah.
to a certain degree.
But I think
Yeah.
that the story part is the most powerful. Can I read you guys someone's story? And I won't tell you who it is. It's a celebrity because like I don't want.
Christopher Columbus.
Is
No,
it
no.
you? Is it you?
No, I just
Oh,
won't tell
yeah.
you who it is because I don't want it to like taint it. But let me know if you guys think this is a good story.
Taint it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey.
Live your life like you're the hero in your own movie. Right now is when the movie starts and your life is a shitbag disaster. Like those guys on the brink, they put their gun in their mouth, then they put it down because they see a photo of their daughter. Pretend that's you. Pretend that right now you're in the part of the movie where it starts and it shows you as a fucking loser. And just decide to not be a loser anymore. Live your life like there's a documentary crew following you around and you are analyzing your own behavior. Do what you want to do so that one day your kids will look back at it and look on it with pride. Like, wow, my dad was a bad motherfucker. He really did what he had to do. So that's
Nicolas Cage.
no.
That's
I'm not-
definitely The Rock.
no, but like that's a story you could tell yourself.
Hold on, I'm so inspired. Like I'm ready to become George Washington.
Like in the hero's journey, this is like the moment where you like, or okay, I'm not gonna kill myself.
It's pretty gnarly how you like if you frame it. Like you can like just create the hero's journey arc from wherever you're at.
And everything's upside from there. If you're at the point where that story
That's gnarly.
The greatest part about all of this discussion is realizing that at any moment in time, the entire story can be recreated. Like your entire future, the concept of the future is the most malleable thing, and that all starts with that identity. Like you shape the future based on that identity. You could wake up and say that, and your entire future would be completely different.
I think so.
one moment. In one moment. Doesn't require 6 years of therapy.
6 years of therapy helps.
I mean, it does. Therapy's
Speaking
great,
from personal
but
experience.
it is that simple sometimes, and yet that difficult as well. I think the journey of identifying who you are and shaping that to your liking and carving a story like a Michelangelo-esque story to your liking
Like the buttocks
Is-
of David.
truly
I had to cut
The-
to Steven scoffing at you.
the greatest it is like the greatest blessing and opportunity to have that. Like what a profound idea to be able to have that opportunity to shape your life story, knowing that it could end tomorrow.
What about those types of folks who believe in determinism, who say that you don't you don't shape it; it's already been shaped?
Fuck those
If
people.
that in a way it's like if you want to be that dogmatic and that's your belief,
Steven, that was your brother, by the way.
that's it. Like that's like I mean like look, you get a choice. You want to do something with your life and you want like it's all belief. At the end of the day, it's all a set of beliefs. Like if you're that deterministic, what's there left to do? I want to enjoy the time I have conscious and awake on this planet to the like regardless of like the physics of it. What do you want? What do you want while you're here? What do you want? What do you want to believe? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want to believe? What do you want to do? How much do you want to shape your destiny? I want to shape my destiny. I think it's a beautiful thing. You know? So Calcium asked a question right back at you, Stephen.
I saw that. I was wondering if
the
we would
chat
do
has
that.
been eerily quiet, by the way, on
Yeah,
this whole
because
this
it
whole
got
identity
dense.
stuff.
It got
Well,
fucking
I wonder if
Von
it's good
Deeper.
or if it's
I
not
thought this
good.
would be popping off because
No, I think it's
this
I
is the
I think-
best conversation I think we've ever had.
I think people are thinking and that's good.
They're
So,
thinking, man.
Steven, what's one word that describes your identity?
No, Calcium wanted you all to go around and say one word
Well,
that
I'm
describes
starting
Well,
with
everybody else.
Armand is posing the question.
How do I just
Yeah,
my
we'll
identity?
all answer it. We'll all answer.
I'll
it.
answer mine. I've known this for years.
But because you asked, I'm starting with you.
I think of myself as an achiever.
Okay, I like that.
I see that.
Eric, you said you had an easy one, so
Curious.
curious.
Oh,
Ooh,
curious.
yeah, same.
Same.
Okay.
We should have done our Calcium's thing first, though. Now everything's tainted.
I like that. Adventurous.
Can't say the word tainted anymore.
Achiever. Curious.
My cousin said, agreed. No time to chat. Too much in thought.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
I had a feeling.
It's a very deep.
I want to talk about it
discussion.
more again.
Well, you know what? I actually just felt like Armand and I want to talk about more because we're curious.
All right, guys.
So good.
Maybe
so
we should
good.
continue this conversation. Are we going to go out tonight, or are we going to like call
Yes,
it early
of course
because
we're going
Well,
out.
according to
tomorrow-
Eric's like
yeah.
rules
I have a protocol.
of holidays, there's a protocol here.
This is like a Huberman protocol. If your only agenda tomorrow is to have fun, then you have to have fun tonight too.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I
obviously.
was assuming that like I would get quorum on call it early. You know, big day tomorrow.
No. Eric's
No.
belief is you start now.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
start as early as possible. You bleed the celebration into the previous day.
Yeah, we got to call it. We need to name this rule, but it's just part of the protocol.
Yeah, we need a good Huberman protocol name for it.
Okay.
But it's good.
All right. I want to talk more about that topic we talked about. I don't know. Maybe we'll find a different prompt for it
I
because
thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope at least one person out there did. If you did, please leave a review for me.
Yeah, Tyler, I want to
Next
know what
week.
your I want to know what your identity is, Tyler, outside of just mouth breather.
why did he say that in the chat one day?
Yeah, I haven't forgotten.
Man knows his wines. So I'll tell you that.
He does. He does. All right, guys. This was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We went well past our time, but I think it was worth it. Maybe it was selfish because it was my,
long did
my
we go?
pondering question. 7:20. Sir?
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
Burner.
a long one.
A burner.
That's a long
We
one.
love you guys for joining us live and also for sticking with us. I see the live viewers sticking with us, so appreciate it much. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and otherwise, everyone enjoy a little 4th of July. Even if you're not in the U.S., enjoy a little Independence Day, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday at 5 PST on YouTube.
Can I just tell you guys how much
Love
I
you.
love doing this podcast?
Good. I'm glad.
Thanks, man. Me
Yeah.
too.
Thank you.
All right.
Happy 4th, everyone.
Happy 4th.